Also expand service to Windsor Locks and extend customer service hours at Hartford's Union stations. A couple of separate crashes on Interstate 84 on Sunday. WTIC's Morgan Cunningham says both were fatals.
Troopers say a 2008 Hyundai Tiburon spun out and became disabled on the left-hand side of the highway when a Lexus slammed into the car around 6:30 in the morning Sunday, pushing it into a tractor-trailer that was driving westbound next to the Lexus. Two passengers from Danbury were killed, 27-year-old Ronald Omar Tello and 36-year-old Carlos Jimenez Molina. About 12 hours later, troopers say 43-year-old Carlos Serrano of Wethersfield drove into a 2006 Hyundai Civic that 29-year-old Eloy Batista da Silva of no listed address was driving on I-84 eastbound near exit 36 in Farmington. Batista da Silva was killed when he crossed over the left lane, went through a center median, and slid into oncoming traffic in the left lane of I-84 westbound, hitting four other vehicles. Serrano allegedly fled the scene in Toyota, but was later found. Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080
And
News.
confirmation hearings of Trump cabinet picks begin tomorrow. Correspondent Nancy Cortez reports that includes Pentagon pick Pete Hegseth. An issue could be who sees an FBI background check that was done on him.
The FBI has looked into it. It has shared what it found with the top Democrat and the top Republican on the Armed Services Committee, which will be holding the hearing tomorrow. But there are other members of that committee who are saying, hey, I'd really like to see what's in that background report as well.
WTIC News Time 3:04 from the WTIC 24-hour traffic network. Still a problem out in Plainville on 84 East. This is between exits 34 and 35. Right lane is blocked due to a one-vehicle crash there. We also see some leftover road work in Hartford, 15 north between 89 and the end of the 15 northbound. The right lane closed there for about another half hour or so. And work on Route 2 west between exits 10 and 8 until 3:30. That's in the right lane. Route 9 on the southbound side down in New Britain, 37A to 36. That should be wrapping up at 3:30 as well. Jason Caterina has the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
Well, the rest of our Monday, a mix of clouds and sunshine, the high of 43, and milder than it's going to be over the next couple of days. So enjoy. Partly cloudy tonight, the low down to 27. It turns colder on our Tuesday. It'll be windy as well, partly sunny. Can't rule out a snow shower in the afternoon and evening. The high of 35 is going to feel like it's in the 20s at best with the strong winds. Heading into tomorrow night, it'll be partly cloudy and breezy. The low down to 21. Wednesday, still breezy with a mix of sunshine and a few clouds, though colder. The high only 29. May only feel like teens at times with the breeze. Then as we head into the day on Thursday, mostly cloudy, not as windy.
Yeah, once you get here, it's gonna sound great.
Cold.
I know.
Moving up to 41.
You got the
Friday,
audio
the
stuff
wind
set up?
shifting into the south.
Yeah.
Then on
Okay.
Saturday, cloudy,
Can't
the
wait
high
to
of
hear.
42. And then cooler on Sunday, the high 39. I'm meteorologist Jason.
What stuff you talking about?
WTIC
What's
weather.
that?
And for these stories,
What audio things you talking about?
Oh, I was talking about
I'm John
doing,
Silva, WTIC
the audio
1080
stuff that you were
News.
putting
Do
together.
you have plans this
Oh no, that's not ready yet.
Oh, okay.
We just sent it. We just sent a portion of it to the Big Voice this morning.
Oh,
Plant
okay.
Center and
So we gotta wait for that to come back. Once that come back, Joey's gonna email it over to me.
Got it.
plantcenter.com.
Join us this Sunday for Tumula.
Hopefully that's in the next 24 hours, cause
Tune in to from
when I got
or catch the
ideas and shit in my head going crazy,
Yeah.
I like to
You
get
like
it
it
done.
fresh.
Yeah.
NewsTalk 1080.
Sports became a bigger part of WTIC in the 1950s. In the early
afternoon,
years,
Kevin.
the focus was on coverage of the Hartford boxing
Chat room
scene, as
popping
well
already.
as local football rivalries and annual coverage of the Indy 500. In 1952, we started covering what was then the Insurance City Open, and 72 years later, we are still covering the tournament, which we now know as the Travelers Championship. In 57, we started regularly broadcasting the Boston Red Sox baseball team, and as you also know, the games are still heard right here. Also in 57, George Ehrlich, who was then considered the best play-by-play announcer in all of New England.
I may
Sports.
just if I don't get it back till Wednesday, then I'll just debut it on. Obviously, I'll give it to you over the weekend, but
Okay.
then we'll debut it on Monday for the big show.
Oh,
Left
good enough.
Hartford in 1997.
Oh, yeah. That's right. The big show.
I
yeah.
wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this
A minute.
from our patients. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition. It's fully treatable. And at Northeast Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll also likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Northeast Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-5956 or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices: Salem, New Hampshire, Dedham, Marlborough, Woburn, Farmington, Connecticut. Northeast Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
What's wrong with being an angry prophet denouncing the hypocrisies of our times?
Do you want to be an angry prophet denouncing the hypocrisies of our times?
Yeah, I think I'd like to be an angry prophet denouncing the hypocrisies of our times.
Then grab it! Grab it!
Yeah! What's going on, all you scallywags out there, nutmeggers? Across the fruited plain, it's none other than Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC. Welcome, everybody, to the show. We are going to make this a very, very interesting Monday because I am going to do something that I normally save for Whack Job Wednesday and put it on a Monday. If a couple of you out there do listen to the Sunday show, and the Sunday show airs now that football's over, there's no baseball either. The show airs twice on Sundays, 1 p.m. and 6 p.m., I believe. 6 p.m., I think. And you can check out that program. If you don't get it, you can always go to reesontheradio.com. It airs literally as soon as it drops on WTIC. You can find it at reesontheradio.com. That's, of course, if you want to watch it or you want to listen to it commercial-free. But, of course, I implore you, listen to WTIC during the weekend. You get it fresh, and it sort of like feels showy and stuff like that. And I like it on WTIC. I listen to my show. Again, that's because I have to tape it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm wondering what I could do different. I'm always reinventing the wheel, if you will. But yesterday, when it aired, you may have heard something that I thought should shake up people a little bit. Maybe even make them angry. And the only reason why I thought of it was because what happens in Washington is predictable. There are no coincidences. Washington is a very scripted place. The scandals are scripted. I'm reading this book. And is it fair to say reading if it's audiobook? I guess no. But I'm reading a book. We'll just use the term reading for the sake of argument. Let me find it right now because it's on my phone, but I want to get the title correct. Jesse Waters on Jesse Waters Primetime featured this book on the show last week. The title of the book is called All the Worst Humans. It's by a guy by the name of Phil Elwood. And this is a very interesting book. He worked as a public relations guy in Washington, and he was everywhere. And he even worked with Muammar Gaddafi's son, the evil dictator of Libya, worked with his son. And I'm only into like the first 3 chapters of the book, and he is talking about how he infests the newsroom to cover the stories that are important to him. And I'm listening to all of the stories he's talking about, and as a news junkie, I know all of them. And he is, in essence, giving a backdoor sort of story as to how these stories became national lore, how these sort of crept into your newspapers, your TV screens, and on your cell phones. Fascinating book. And Karine Jean-Pierre is at the podium answering questions as usual at the White House press corps, to the White House press corps. And I learned this many, many moons ago. Many of these questions are coordinated to make the White House look good. The press or that particular press person is chosen. Margaret, at the end, you will ask me this because Karine Jean-Pierre needs to answer this or get it out there for people to report. It's very scripted. I'll give you an example that you'll all remember. Well, two. Trayvon Martin and Skip Gates, Professor Skip Gates of Harvard University. During Barack Obama's presidency, the Trayvon Martin question, after Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman, was coordinated by the reporter and the White House press corps for Obama to make that famous line, "If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon." Because he wanted to get that on a national level. He wanted to get that, it's the bully pulpit. And also, when Barack Obama wanted to make the comment about Skip Gates and the police officers in Cambridge, Barack Obama wanted to chide the police department. And he also wanted to bolster the friction between the African American community and the police. When Barack Obama famously said, "I don't know that many details to the story, but from what I know, the police acted stupidly." Now, he put his big fat foot in his mouth, but again, he contradicts himself in that claim anyway. But again, these are all scripted moments between the press and the White House. And of course, the press, for them, they get access. And that's what they want. So I heard this question, and it made the rounds, but not a lot of people talked about it. And it got me thinking. I won't give you the background of what it got me thinking, but I'm going to use this. Let's just play the audio, and you'll listen to it, and let's see if your head starts to, tinker a little bit.
In his interview with the USA Today earlier this week, the president talked a bit about preemptive pardons, saying that they are still potentially on the table. Can you speak a little bit about the scope that he is considering when it comes to that? And if he's any closer to this?
So we have been saying that the president will have more to say, more to announce on pardons and commutations. So that is, we have 10 days to go. So certainly that will be very soon that we'll make those announcements. I'm not going to get into the scope. I'm not going to get ahead of the president, but we will be making some more additional announcements on pardons and commutations before the end of his term.
So there she is, Karine Jean-Pierre saying, or being asked about pardons and commutations. And of course, the reason why many thought this question was being asked, and it's safe to assume that was why, was because of Anthony Fauci, because of Liz Cheney, because of, what's his name? Adam Schiff, many people who were in Benny Johnson, many people who were involved with the January 6th committee, people who have gone after Donald Trump. Many people thought that that's what it was about. But something else was just jamming me. It kept saying, I don't know. I don't think that while everybody's looking right, that's the way to look. I've got to look in the other direction. And then it dawned on me. On January 3rd, we got this weird, inexplicable memo in our news feed that said that Judge Juan Merchan was going to sentence Donald Trump on the 10th of January before Inauguration Day. And I didn't pay any mind to that. I kept saying to myself, that's weird. Why do that now? And the usual things came to mind. Oh, he just wants to embarrass him. Oh, they just wanted to embarrass him. They get to say that he's a convicted felon going into the White House. The media could just run with that. But I've been watching the news for the last couple of days. Folks, have you noticed anybody making any real headway with that comment? No. couple of people on MSNBC have made it here and there, but no one's jumping to it. In fact, many people are complaining that Donald Trump didn't get a harsher punishment. He just got sentenced, and that was the end of it. It's all done and all over with. And then it came to me. What if the Juan Merchan sentencing was designed to give President Joe Biden the opportunity to pardon Donald Trump? What if? What if that would be the ultimate embarrassment? What if the Biden, because I know this couldn't be Joe Biden doing it, it could possibly be his administration. But imagine the saving grace of Biden's legacy would be to stick it to Donald Trump one last time. Sort of like the Ford Nixon pardon. Sort of Joe Biden being the person to bail Trump out. Sure, it would save Donald Trump the moniker of being a felon, but it would make Joe Biden look like a savior of sorts. That Donald Trump needed to be pardoned by his predecessor. It would be a one-up. It would be an ownership of Trump's administration. Clearly, there would have to be a degree of embarrassment. Look, when other people get pardoned, people can ballyhoo about it. Hunter Biden getting a pardon. Who did that help or hurt? Of course, it helped Hunter Biden, but it sullied the reputation of Joe Biden because he said he would never do it, he would never do it, he would never do it. And there was no likelihood that he was even going to have to pardon Donald Trump. But look, right now, with 7 days left? With 7 days left, imagine what that cycle would be. It's enough to have Donald Trump going in as a felon on Inauguration Day. But if you want to suck the oxygen out of the room, you pardon him right before it. Like if you pardon him at 11:59 on Monday, it would be like when Alex Rodriguez retired from baseball during the World Series. I remember Joe Buck being livid when that happened. I mean, livid. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying, is it a possibility? Do you think? I talked to a couple of people. In fact, let me read the text messages that I got. I asked our good friend, Rob McGreevy of the Daily Caller. Of course, part of Mondays with McGreevy right here on Reese on the Radio. I sent this to him. I said, call me crazy, but what if Juan Merchan sentenced Trump just to allow Biden to pardon him? And he writes, I know better now than to dismiss your theories out of hand. I do think Merchan has a vendetta, though. And it's quite possible. I asked the same thing of Chris Powell, ChrisPowellColumns.com. We had him on the show last week. He said it would be conspiracy and subversive of separation of powers. So I write back, so plausible, laugh out loud. He goes, these days, yes. So there's something to me that says that this is likely, because again, I kind of feel like no one is seeing it, but it didn't make any sense. For me, it was inexplicable for Juan Merchan to have sent. We were under the impression we weren't going to get sentencing until after Inauguration Day. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, yep, we're doing it Friday. And here we are. And there have been some bizarre commutations, as it were, Guantanamo Bay prisoners. I think we got the bodyguard of Osama bin Laden was let out of Gitmo. So, I mean, again, this is just one of those things in my head that I'm going, I don't know. It seems suspicious. My head, I saw the video of Karine Jean-Pierre. As soon as I saw it in the fashion, just the way in which she spoke, Corinne Jean-Pierre never has that kind of confidence when she speaks because, of course, she's the voice box for a failed presidency. She's been embarrassed at every end. And this subject of pardons and commutations has been an embarrassment for this White House thus far. And I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past any of them that they've got one more little shank to give to the, because again, look, they're angry. Joe Biden's still running around telling people, I still could have won. I mean, talk about inexplicable. We've got the guy giving a press conference where he says that he still believes that he could have beaten Trump, and then says he believes that Kamala Harris would have beaten him as well. She just lost to him. I mean, either you're stupid and delusional, or you're just lying. I think there's a combination of both. But I don't put it past this administration. They are bitter, they are angry, and they want blood. And anything they could do to further embarrass the president with everything to do. And look at the executive orders to keep federal workers at home, the executive orders to keep from drilling offshore. Things that, again, a lame duck president doesn't even need to do. Just at a time when Joe Biden could just go bye-bye. The American people have spoken, not interested. Just go to Rehoboth. Come back on Inauguration Day. If you feel like it, you don't have to, but just go away. Instead, keep throwing wrenches in it. This is one of those things that I think that the Biden administration would do, just to give this administration something another hurdle that it'd have to answer to every day. The news media would salivate over this. They believe that their role is to be contrarian to this administration. They believe that it's their job to not just stop the administration, but to be the roadblocks in its path for anything that it wants, and to make sure it demonizes them and make sure there's a public record of the demonization of this administration and everybody in it. And I do believe that this would just give them more ammunition. And this would be in the record books. Joe Biden pardoning Donald Trump, it would be epic. What else hasn't been done to Donald Trump? What else hasn't been done? Just when you thought that it wasn't, like, how far would they go? They go a step further. And I'm awestruck by what they're willing to do. When we come back, we'll talk about the Senate hearings that are coming up, the confirmation hearings, I guess you have to call them, that are coming up. We've got a list of those committees that are going to be hearing from the nominees. We'll run those down. I'm actually going to tell you about which ones I think are going to be the most volatile that you may not think will be. Because, of course, everybody's talking about Pete Hegseth. That's going to be prime time in the daytime when Pete Hegseth goes before the committee, the Armed Services Committee on Tuesday at 9:30. Everyone's going to be tuned into that just because the Democrats are going to try to get their ounce of blood. So we'll talk about that. But I'm going to tell you some others that are going to be contentious, that I expect to be contentious, and I think that you don't want to miss in this coming week alone. So we got Tuesday through Thursday where these are going to go in, and plus your phone calls. So stick around. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. The number is 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. We'll be back after this.
I miss my little Mittens. She was the best dog a person could have. Do you have a senior in your life who has a Twilight wish? Our Connecticut chapter wants to grant a Twilight wish. If your senior lives in the state of Connecticut and is 65 or older, their Twilight wish could be granted. Nominate your senior now. Log on to twilightwishct.org. Learn more and nominate your senior. twilightwishct.org. Join me and our partners, NBC Connecticut and Telemundo, along with WTIC News Talk 1080.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First and Main, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
And now, a WTIC news update.
3:30, I'm John Silva. Waterbury Police and the State Police Fire and Explosion Investigation Unit trying to figure out what caused a house to explode on Sunday, killing a 56-year-old man. Also in Waterbury, police have released the name of a man who died during an altercation early Saturday morning. Marquez Ebron was 27. Police say he was stabbed during that incident outside 457 West Main Street. Arrest in another weekend stabbing, this one in Norwich. Police there say 39-year-old Nelson Chumap died from a stab wound, now charged with murder. 23-year-old John Paul Sella Pichisaga. And Democratic state House and Senate leaders gathered at the Capitol today, spelling out some legislative priorities. They say they'll work to try and build up the housing stocks and also will tackle additional funding for education. Firefighters preparing for a return of dangerous winds that could again stoke the wildfires in L.A. WTIC News Time 3:31. Jason Caterina has the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon, we'll have a mix of clouds and sun, the high of 43. Partly cloudy tonight, the low down to 27. Windy and colder as we make our way into Tuesday. Partly sunny, can't rule out a snow shower in the afternoon and evening. The high of 35 will feel much colder with the strong winds. Then for tomorrow night, partly cloudy, breezy, quite cold, the low down to 21. Breezy and quite cold Wednesday with sunshine and a few clouds, the high 29. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Checking traffic in Plainville, two-vehicle crash, 84 East between exits 34 and 35 has the right lane closed. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, basketball fans. It's Liam McNeely, your new freshman recruit. On the court, I know the power of teamwork. It's not just about one player. It's about the whole team coming together to win. That's why I trust the law firm of Brown, Panderis, and Scott. With Brown, Panderis, and Scott, you get more than just a lawyer. You get a team of dedicated professionals fighting for you, working together to make sure you get the best results, just like we do on game day. Remember, when it comes to your legal needs, choose the team that knows the value of teamwork. Visit bpslawyers.com. They're here to win for you.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city. You can stay in the know, no matter what you're up to, and be among the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard. To get started, download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, and follow your local news station.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4600. 4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck here with Mark, who, like me, learned how easy losing weight could be with Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
After meeting with the staff at Awaken 180, I thought they took everything about me into consideration and said, okay, based on where you want to be, what your goals are, here's what you should do. They laid it out for me. Now, I've had a couple people that I've recommended that have joined Awaken 180. Their program is a little bit different than mine, but we're all seeing results. So I like the fact that they took the time to kind of tailor something to my needs. I looked forward to going on Mondays for my weigh-in. They're very welcoming. They knew who I was just after the first visit. They looked forward to seeing me. And it was almost like just coming home to a family. I mean, it really felt like they were all my sisters. I really look forward to it. I'll go back once a month now that I'm on maintenance, but they're true professionals, and they're very, very nice people.
Nice people who genuinely care about your success. Succeed. Take the first step and reserve your January consultation today. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Oh no, stomach issues. 1 minute.
Issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine
So
pancreatic
Roland,
insufficiency, or EPI.
what's his name?
With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down
Robin
food,
just
but
told me that he's
EPI is
listening to the
manageable.
show,
Use the symptom checker on
and when the theme
identifyepi.com
music
and
came on,
speak
he
with your
started
doctor.
singing
That's
my version of the theme song.
identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Stuck in your head.
Yeah, he said earworm achieved.
People are showing up ways. That's because CDW is building.
You just wait. They really gonna be singing it.
Oh yeah, okay.
With noise block AI to silence distractions and group framing to highlight speakers, everyone on your team to shine. Make amazing happen. HP Poly and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/poly.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right. We are back. Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Woo! Don't get me started. I might spin a bar. It's Reese on the radio with Emmy-winning producer-in-chief. Brother Matthews. Hey, listen. So Craig in the car is in the chat room. He just said Biden cannot pardon Donald J. Trump. He was convicted on state charges. A presidential pardon applies only to federal offenses. Okay, is that 100% true? I think you're right. Maybe that's the reason why no one's talking about it. But something in my head says, I don't know why. Again, but I'm going to look it up. I'm going to find out if there's anything in there that suggests that. I think you're 100% right, but I have my doubts. Just something I I'm trying to figure out if there's ever been a pardon that wasn't federally done. Because was there ever a federal charge against, against Nixon? Like, was he indicted? So anyway, I'll figure it out. But we're taking your phone calls. 860-522-WTIC. Richie is in Bloomfield. How we doing, Richie?
Hey, what's up, Reese?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, listen, it's a very plausible theory, but you just hit the nail. I don't think he can pardon anybody on state charges. And
Okay.
the other thing, Reese, is if they pardon Trump, he gets his guns back. And there's no way that Biden is going to give Trump his guns back.
Nah, good point. That is. I think
No
so.
way.
Having the scorn of being a felon would be enough.
Yeah, there's no way that he's going to. There's no way he'll pardon him because that means he can get armed again. And Biden and his gun control, I just don't see that happening. It's a good theory, but I really don't think that he's going to pardon Trump.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Well, Michael B is saying that Craig is right. But then it's just I'm assuming it's just the former then, Richie. In essence, Juan Merchan just did this so that Donald Trump will have the moniker of felon going into the White House.
True.
But let me ask you this. Let me throw this theory at you, Richie, because you seldom call. So I want somebody at least on the outskirts answering this question for me. So you got Donald Trump going into Inauguration Day, a convicted felon. The point that I made last week was, wait a minute. You are setting quite a bar or a precedent for the next 20 years, maybe 30 years, for someone who may choose to run for president. Hear me out. You remember back in the days when we made the big deal, or the media made the big deal, when they found out that George W. Bush was only a C student, and then they were poking fun at, you could be a C student and still become president of the United States. In essence, saying you didn't have to be of elite educational stature. In order to be president of the United States, the average C student could make it. Now we're saying that a felon can. So what gives? It almost feels like they're lowering the bar that anybody that gets elected, it's almost like destroying the prestige of the office.
Well, is Trump really a convicted felon? On paper, yes. But is it if Trump is a convicted felon, then they can go after Kamala's husband for paying hush money to his mistress there that he knocked up to be quiet.
Indeed. It baffles the mind because again,
it's all game. It's political theater.
Exactly. I know it's political theater, but I'm saying that there are consequences to this.
There is.
You know what I mean? There are consequences to this show trial kind of atmosphere. You know what I mean? Because there are other things that they don't care about. They're so focused, their tunnel vision on Trump is so dire to the whole structure, as it were.
Well, 75 million people don't give a crap that he's a convicted felon.
78 now, Richie. We've gone up. Thank you, Richie. I appreciate you, sir. I'm sorry. Do you have a last one?
Thank you.
You got it, boss. Sean is in Meriden. How we doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Two things real quick, because I really want to hear your take on the nominees, because you're fair and you give an objective point of view, and you receive everything, which is great.
Thank you.
That's what it's all supposed to be out. But two things. Number one, the convicted thing is slippery slope. And the reason why I think they're doing that is because they have people who will have that or that about to happen, and they want them to run for office.
Right.
Number one. Number two, Newsom in California. There's a video for first term. It's to Newsom about the issues with the water.
Yes.
And he said, we'll do everything we can to help you, blah, 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 blah. And he allocated resources to help them over 4.5 years ago. And now Newsom is acting like, he's doing this false information crap. Well, go ahead and pick your video because no one else is going to be able to. And he said he would stand beside you 4.5 years ago, and you didn't do jack to blow the money.
Exactly. And there's a great point to that. There's a great point to what you're saying there. And you're breaking up badly, so I hope you can stay stationary because I want to get your points in so everybody can hear them. Just to reiterate what Sean just said here, is like all of that in Trump's first term, he explained to Gavin Newsom, or in the press conference, didn't directly tell Gavin Newsom, but what needed to be done, and they would be helped, and those things would be money would be allocated to them to help them rebuild and to take care of the fire. But Donald Trump expressed several times what needed to be done or how it could be done, and these things could be prevented. Gavin Newsom ignored those things and did what he wanted to do because, again, he's a contrarian to Donald Trump, as he usually is. You're 100% right, but I want to say this to you, Sean, to your point. Here's the biggest problem with Gavin Newsom, and I heard Brian talk about it during the replay. Brian said during the replay or during his show earlier today that everyone's running around talking about the blame game. And to where Brian somewhat dismissed it, that people are being petty in talking about the blame game. I want to help Brian as much as I help people who make this argument about the blame game. The blame game is necessary for one reason and one reason alone. This keeps happening to California, and more real estate is being burnt down. There are ways to prevent this, as Donald Trump expressed, as Sean just expressed here, that Donald Trump said during his first office, and they ignored them. The reason why the blame game is important is because we need to know if the people who are responsible are clearly educated or at least responsible enough to prevent it from happening in the future, which again, the blame game means we get to know that the people who are responsible for it can't fix it because they've had that chance over and over again. Blame isn't about you did it, shame on you. It's about you did it, you can't fix it. That's what that's about.
Exactly. And the last point, it's unrelated. Attorney Tong, is it Attorney Tong here in Connecticut?
Yes.
All right. He got on earlier, and I was really pissed off at whoever the announcer was, because he got on and said basically this school thing where the nursing students got a $5 million settlement and it's done.
Yeah.
Here's my key question. Where was the supervision from the teaching administration and the education department to say that this program was going to, and these students have to get screwed?
Hold on, Sean. Sean, you broke up too bad. I couldn't even hear the question. Try it out one more time.
Okay. All right. My question is this. Where is the accountability for the school and the teachers administration who didn't oversee Stone Academy to make sure that they were doing what they said they were going to do? And yet you're going to give the teachers administration more power when you screwed up the first time.
Yeah, they're never going to do that. Listen to me. This is that mitigation thing that happens in Connecticut. They solved the problem by paying someone off. So now let's move on. No one gets held responsible. They said, in essence, they go, let's pay this off. Don't do it again. We move on. Nobody pays it. The accountability. Chris Powell talks about it in almost every article he writes. Connecticut is always about accountability or the lack thereof. That's the biggest problem. There is going to be no accountability because guess what? They solved the problem because they got their $5 million settlement. Go away, be quiet, and back to business as usual until we get caught again.
And my last point is, if Attorney Tong was so concerned, he should volunteer to cover the legal fees for the settlement, which they should have never had to file in the first place.
Agreed.
Had you been responsible.
Agreed.
Allison,
thank you, Sean. I appreciate you. Like I said, I don't think that there's going to be any accountability or anybody's going to take it. Look, the story's over as far as they're concerned. Now it's just a cleanup crew comes in and they just talk about how they settled it. And can we move on now? I don't want to talk about this anymore. That's it. Remember Koskov? Where'd that story go? It's over with. We moved on. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about the schedule for the committee hearings, the confirmation hearings for Donald Trump's cabinet. There are a couple of people who are on this list that we know are going to be fireworks. All right, we know for a fact that they are going to be fireworks. Pete Hegseth is one of them. I'm pretty sure that Pam Bondi will be another. These are easy ones. These are ones that I consider low-hanging fruit. Kristi Noem is going to be another one that you know is going to be a huge, like there's going to be some sound bites galore coming from those hearings. But I will tell you off the bat that there are a few people who are going to have hearings this week who are going to be the ones that go, oh, did you see that? One, because I know how Democrats do. And two, because I know these individuals. I think the most boring one, let me just get out of the way. I know this is going to be a bad prediction, but it's a prediction nonetheless. Sadly, the most boring confirmation hearing of this list so far is Marco Rubio. I believe that Marco Rubio is got to be the most moderate of candidates that Democrats are not going to try to shame or not going to go after. If they do, there might be a one-off here and there in the Senate who might make a ridiculous claim or say something, ridiculous about him. March Madness says, right, he's a shoo-in. I know he's a shoo-in. Marco Rubio is, he's a part of the Washington elite, if you will. He's earned his keep. I think he's going to go in without a doubt. Full confirmation. I think there'll be a couple of turns on him. But there are some others on this list, and we'll talk about them when we come back. So stay tuned for that. And also the stupidest thing I read today. That's coming up as well, too. This one's a little, for me, I think this is mean, and I can't believe I'm going to defend somebody from CNN. So you don't want to miss that. Okay, the stupidest thing I read today, Reese on the radio is going to defend a CNN anchor. Because I think in this case he's being harshly raked over the coals. Poor guy. Anyway, we'll talk about that. So stick around. We'll be back. Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Welcome to the new era of excellence at Amber Woods of Farmington. We're thrilled to announce that our transformative renovations are now complete, and we've truly taken it to the next level for our residents. Discover our stunning new spaces and indulge in 5-star amenities that redefine comfort and care. This is not the same Amber Woods you knew. Call us today at 860-387-9430 or visit amberwoodsof.com to schedule a tour and witness the remarkable changes at Amber Woods. We can't wait to welcome you.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Northeast Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you. It can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Northeast Men's Health will give you back your sex life because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956 or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices: Salem, New Hampshire, Dedham, Marlborough, Woburn, Farmington, Connecticut. Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice.
Have you noticed that your furnace is losing more fuel than usual? Sometimes you can hear dripping or possibly see some oil under your tank, or not. Say, come on into Campbell. Sudden fuel loss could be the sign of a leak in your oil tank. Got no heat or a leak? Contact Campbell Cooling today or tonight. CampbellCooling.com. That's CampbellCooling.com.
Campbell Cooling uses all major name brands, including American Standard and Mitsubishi heating and cooling equipment. Veteran-owned and operated, let our expert technicians heat your home this winter.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared. You into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at .com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I'm trying to look for this provision. I'll get to it as soon as I find it. Something in there that I know is there. Anyway, Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Holla, holla, pop your collar. Don't forget, on Monday, Inauguration Day, Reese on the radio airs at 2 p.m. with special coverage of the day we've all been waiting for. And some of them haven't been, but we're going to rub it in their noses on Monday. So stay tuned for that. More details about that to come this week. We'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, so in the coming days this week, Tuesday through Thursday, according to the schedule, there will be confirmation hearings for Trump's cabinet. And the likelihood that this group will make it through looks pretty good, with the exception of a few. As I said before, Mark Rubio, without a doubt, no argument there. Pete Hegseth will be everything tomorrow. It is all, and I'm almost certain when we air at 3 o'clock, that's what we'll be covering. And I'm going to try to have as many sound bites as I possibly could, but you will probably heard them ad nauseum by the time we get to the show. But that's okay. We're still going to make it interesting. We're going to find the stuff that I found that was interesting and pertinent, and we will point out the naysayers, if you will, on the Democrat side, because that's where the contentious hearing questions will be. And it'll be about, of course, sex, scandal, and all that good stuff. Kristi Noem will deal with a couple of comments about her dog. You know it. I know it. She will have to answer. There'll be some cruel comments. It won't even they won't even be questions related to it. There'll be comments about how cruel she is for shooting her dog. They will talk about her being a Donald Trump loyalist, and of course, there will be some conversations because she's going for Homeland Security Secretary. So there is, Department of Homeland Security Secretary, and there will be a lot of contention about that, and of course, about immigration. I don't know what Kristi Noem's, what's the word I'm looking for, credentials are for that role, but we'll learn a lot about her during that. But there'll be a lot of attacks on her. Pam Bondi, expect fireworks here. Why do I expect fireworks here? Pam Bondi is no sucker. She is no wallflower. She is a fighter. And she will deck you in the face if necessary. This is the woman who, if you try to steal her purse walking down the street, she will wrestle you to the ground to keep you from taking it from her. She suffers no fools. And she's afraid of no one. And she's great under pressure. She doesn't fumble. Very confident woman. An accomplished woman at that. So I don't see anybody get slick with her. I think that she will bite back. And there will be a lot of, how do I put it? There will be a couple of sister girl moments in this hearing. So I would say watch out for that. There will be some cat fights, if you will. I expect that. There will be some, there'll be a little bit of that. That'll be hot. This one, no one is talking about, but this one's going to be good. John Radcliffe for CIA. This will be absolutely contentious because John Radcliffe is, when I say he is a bona fide Trump supporter, he's not a guard dog. He's an attack dog. He's very, Radcliffe is very, very small in stature, but he knows his stuff. And if anybody comes for him, you can expect him to slap a lot of people down. That will be one of my favorites to watch. We'll get into some more in a minute, but let's get our first check of the traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. How we doing, Mark? Happy Monday.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. If you're heading into Hartford right now and you're on the eastbound side of I-84, look for some delays about a half mile before 46 Cicero Avenue up to 48 Capitol Avenue. Westbound 84 looks a little slow coming out of the tunnel up to 47 Sigourney. 91 southbound delays 33 to 32. Northbound 91's okay Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291, 384 okay east of the river. 2 eastbounds in good shape, Glastonbury into Marlborough. Middletown looks good, 9 in the Argonne Bridge, slightly slow, 84 westbound at the Mixmaster in Waterbury. 91 in the Parkway, moving well toward New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Monday, a mix of clouds and sunshine, the high of 43, and milder than it's going to be over the next couple of days. So enjoy. Partly cloudy tonight, the low down to 27. It turns colder on our Tuesday. It'll be windy as well, partly sunny. Can't rule out a snow shower in the afternoon and evening. The high of 35 is going to feel like it's in the 20s at best with the strong winds. Heading into tomorrow night, it'll be partly cloudy and breezy, the low down to 21. Wednesday, still breezy with a mix of sunshine and a few clouds, though colder. The high only 29, may only feel like teens at times with the breeze. Then as we head into the day on Thursday, mostly cloudy, not as windy, the high 31. Friday, partly sunny, not as cold, the high moving up to 41 on Friday with the wind shifting into the southwest. Then on Saturday, cloudy, the high of 42, and then cooler on Sunday, the high 39. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is 99 and throwing a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Cloudy skies, 41 degrees, the temperature in Hartford. State police are charging a man after they say he hit a victim with his car following an altercation on Saturday. Under arrest is 29-year-old Brian Baez Rivera of Willimantic. They say the incident unfolded as Baez Rivera was coaching a youth basketball game at Horace Porter School in Columbia. According to the victim, they reported getting into an argument with the visiting coach. Victims said they attempted to approach the coach's vehicle. Baez Rivera allegedly struck the victim, who went over the hood and the roof of the car, causing non-life-threatening injuries. State police ultimately contacted Baez Rivera, who told them the victim and others chased him on foot, and he fled out of fear for himself and passengers, including children. Baez Rivera told investigators the victim walked in front of his car and he couldn't stop in time. Prospect Medical Holdings has filed for bankruptcy. Chapter 11. The LA-based company owns Manchester Hospital, Rockville General, and Waterbury. They cite a $400 million liability they can't afford for their facilities across the country. Now, State Senator Jeff Gordon, a Republican from Woodstock, says he's trying to prevent companies like Prospect from doing business with hospitals again in Connecticut.
But if you need to get your medical care local, or you have an emergency and need to go to one of the emergency rooms for these hospitals, get the care you need. Don't hold back. The doors are open. People are providing the care, and you should seek the care when you need it. Your care is not going to be affected.
Now, further complicating matters, Yale reached a deal with Prospect in 2022 for $435 million. But citing deteriorating conditions, Yale's been trying to get a lower purchase price, and they're now in litigation. State Attorney General William Tong on all this is not ruling out a lawsuit should it come to that.
This is about life and death. This is about patients. This is about communities. This is about health care. And we should not play games, and we should not play financial games with people's lives and their families in our communities.
24 deaths now attributed to the wildfires in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles area. 12,000 homes and businesses have been destroyed. More from reporter Craig Figgener.
The deadliest of the Southern California fires, at least as of now, is the Eaton fire burning in Los Angeles County, Pasadena, and Altadena. LA County Sheriff Robert Luna confirms at least 16 dead. He says a number he believes will rise because there are also 17 people unaccounted for.
So please be patient with us. People are saying, I just want to go look at my house and I want to see what's left. We know that, but we have people literally looking for the remains of your neighbors.
Craig Figner for CBS News, Pasadena, California.
And just what firefighters and residents don't want, the Santa Ana winds are expected to kick up again.
The predictions and for this, for the red flag warnings and the very extreme fire conditions are going to worsen overnight, beginning at around 4 a.m. Tomorrow morning, right before dawn, is when we expect that worst of those winds, up to maybe 60 miles an hour, to start really hitting this area.
That's correspondent Lilia Luciano. President Biden delivered a final speech on his foreign policy achievements during his administration. Correspondent Stacey Lynn is at the White House.
The United States is winning the worldwide competition.
He says his presidency has strengthened American power in every dimension.
We've increased our diplomatic power, creating more allies than the United States has ever had in the history of our nation. We've increased our military power, making the most significant investments in the defense industrial base in decades. We've increased the technology power, taking the lead in artificial intelligence and other technologies of the future.
And he says they built the most dynamic economy in the world.
From the bottom up and the middle out, not the top down.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
Back here, State House and Senate Democrats met to outline several priorities of the 2025 legislative session. They discussed education and housing issues specifically, addressing a pair of bills in the Senate. One would increase resources for students, schools, and special education. Another would address the state's increasing need for affordable housing. According to the latter, or regarding the latter, New London State Senator Martha Marks, who co-chairs the Housing Committee, says that's improving stocks so those working in a particular municipality can live there.
We do need a lot more affordable housing, and it's workforce housing, right? It's the housing for the teachers, for the nurses, for the even the young engineers at Electric Boat.
Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow up 358 points. NASDAQ down 73. S&P up 9 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
At Odyssey, we've been creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Hi, this is Joel Johnson with Johnson Brunetti. Do not make mistakes when it comes to Social Security decisions. Get our free guide, Social Security Decisions. Call or text the word security to request your copy. 1-800-705-1232. Call or text the word security to 1-800-705-1232 to get your free guide. 1-800-705-1232.
Investment offered through JB Capital, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance products offered through JN Financial, LLC.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080, WTIC.
This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Do I look that stupid? Yes, you do.
This one involves football, CNN, and an old anchor. Of course, you all know Wolf Blitzer, an anchor of the Situation Room on CNN. Well, he is, like a lot of people, a huge Buffalo Bills fan. And I guess it was, what day was the game, Buffalo versus Denver? Was it Saturday, Roland? Is that when the game was? I think the score was 31-7.
Yeah, 31-7.
Right, 31-7. Buffalo wins that game. And, of course, you know, it's Buffalo, right? And they've always been almost there, just can't seem to get a shot. Buffalo Mafia is really believing that this year is their year. They keep getting better and better and better. And Wolf Blitzer is a huge Buffalo fan, right? And he took a photo of himself, You know, having watched the 4 Super Bowls in a row, having lost, he was prideful in his team winning a playoff game against Denver, a hotshot young team. And he posted a picture of himself. If you go to reeseontheradio.com, that's REESE on the radio.com, and go to the stupidest thing I've read today, there's a picture of Wolf Blitzer pointing at the TV and pointing at the score of 31-7 Buffalo wins, smiling, beaming about his team winning. But he posted it on X where the world is cruel. It is cruel. They are hateful. Find out what they said about Wolf Blitzer, and it's mean. Let me tell you, Mark Christopher's at the PPS Traffic Center. Mark, do you have any technology in your house that's from the 80s or 90s?
Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you. Good
never
afternoon,
mind.
everyone. If you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91 delays 33 down to 32 A&B. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 84 eastbound.
He didn't even hear you.
I know.
He just was coming back and buzzed right in.
Both sides of 384 and 291 moving well. Westbound Route 2, no problems. Glastonbury and East Hartford. 9 northbound, a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge. Waterbury's okay. 91 in the Parkway moving well, heading down in toward New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, a pretty quiet but colder couple of days coming as we head through tonight. Partly cloudy, the low down to 27. Partly sunny, windy, and colder starting Tuesday. Can't rule out a snow shower in the afternoon and evening. The high 35 is going to feel like it's down in the 20s at best. Tuesday night, partly cloudy, breezy, cold, the low down to 21. Wednesday, breezy, sunshine, a few clouds, the high only 29. It'll feel like the teens at times with the strong winds. Then as we make our way into Thursday, mostly cloudy, the wind subsiding some, the high of 34. Currently 40 in Bristol, 41 in Danbury, 39 in New Haven. It's 41 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Worried about the Trump tariffs? At Columbia Implant Center, our prices won't go up. We produce all dentures, crowns, and implants in-house in our own digital lab. Columbia Implant Center, 1 day, same day, 7 days a week. Visit ColumbiaImplantCenter.com.
Want $125 free heating oil or propane to save on heating costs this winter? Go with your local HVAC pros. Go with Petro. Petro has a great deal on a new heating system with $0 down and low monthly payments. Go to Petro.com now or call 1-888-PETRO02.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at NewNordicUSA.com or at CVS. That's NewNordicUSA.com. ProHealth Physicians has proudly been keeping Connecticut healthy for nearly 25 years. ProHealth accepts Husky Medicaid, Medicare, TRICARE, and most major insurances. For trusted local care for your whole family, call 1-855-CT-MD-411 or visit ProHealthMD.com.
Prescriptions require an online the healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit, 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
It's Reese on the radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. Right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
It's Reese on the radio. Craig in the car says, interesting that the Supreme Court case, Burdick versus the United States, the court stated in its opinion, unlike immunity, the court reasoned a pardon carries an imputation of guilt, acceptance, a confession of it. Even if Trump was pardoned, that guy would never accept it. I couldn't agree more. John Beckman says, old Wolf Blitzer is no Tim Russert. No, he is not. Tim Russert loved the Buffalo Bills. Commentary in Texas, again, still can't understand this. Commentary says, you watch yourself talking about my Buffalo Bills, Reese. Nobody made you choose the wrong team from New Jersey. I couldn't agree with you more. 2 stories on that, just to give you some background.
Yeah, they about to get smoked next week, though.
I know. 2 stories about that. One of my favorite stories ever I tell is when I lived in Buffalo in 98. The Jets had to play, of course, the Buffalo Bills twice a year, once there and, of course, once in Meadowlands. And that winter, when the Jets went to go play the Buffalo Bills, the cameras on CBS turned to a fan who was holding a big giant sign that says, "New York Jets, welcome to New York," which I thought was hilarious. Still think that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in the stands. Secondly, I will say this, just like commentary here who lives in Texas, he is a Buffalo Bills fan. And I personally know a guy named Dallas who is a Buffalo Bills fan. And I keep asking him how ironic it is that a guy named Dallas is a Buffalo Bills fan, and the 2 games that they lost, the third and the 4th Super Bowl that they lost in a row, was by the Dallas Cowboys. I would change my name or change my favorite team, at least. But to go back to the story about Wolf Blitzer, before we got into traffic, I was going to ask Mark Christopher about this, if you own any old tech in your house. Wolf Blitzer is photographed, and I thank you, Spawn, for going to Reese on the radio to go check out the article. Wolf Blitzer is taking a picture of himself watching the game, pointing at it, and people started berating him online about the technology he was watching the game on. So Wolf Blitzer had a plasma TV from the 90s, and he had the old Oakwood TV, what do you call it, a wall unit that, you used to put the TV in, and, you have all the drawers to it that you keep in the living room. Everybody had that wall unit. Hotels still have them. But he had an old school wall unit. But to boot, what made it even, I think this is the one that got him really kicked, was he had a VCR and a DVD player underneath. So it really looked like Wolf Blitzer had traveled back in time to watch the Buffalo Bills game. And so people were ripping. Now, Wolf Blitzer's 74, maybe even older. That poor guy still has ancient technology in his house. But if you look at the picture, it's in pristine condition. Why would you hate on him? All of the stuff is working. He was watching the game. It's a playoff game. Like, I don't understand why people would hate on him for having ancient. If anything, that stuff is worth a lot of, well, maybe not the VCR. Maybe not the VCR. But he was able to keep that stuff. If that stuff is the original stuff that Wolf Blitzer bought in the 80s and 90s, good on him. He was able to keep that stuff. And again, he didn't have to buy anything new. Those things are still very operational. Obviously, he keeps them in good care. But of course, all of the techno knuckleheads went nuts on him. Who would have thought the only away team to win this weekend were the Washington Redskins? Commentary says, "I'm born and raised in." What's that? What'd you say?
Commanders.
The Commanders. I call them the Commandos. I will never call them that. I'll never call them the Commanders. Commentary says that I was born and raised in Buffalo, New York. I know I don't sound like it, but Bellavia came up with Texas Terry and then Mike Caputo. I'm just saying that it's rare for people. Look, I lived in the D.C., Virginia area, and everybody there was a Dallas Cowboys fan. I don't know how anybody would allow that. You can't. I remember a kid, when I worked in Boston, the year that Brady was going for 18-0 or 19-0 for that matter for the Super Bowl, I saw a guy right before the Super Bowl walking on Commonwealth and Harvard with an Eli Manning jersey. I had to stop him in the street and go, dude, you're going to get killed. What are you doing? Turns out he may have been the jinx. 860-522-WTIC. Al is in Enfield. How we doing, Al?
Good, Reese. How are you?
Pretty good. What's up, sir?
You were talking before about this whole Stone Academy deal with...
the lack of accountability on the school board.
Right, and how, all these students got screwed out of both money and...
Education.
Out of their education as well. Well, anyways, do you know who the executive director of the Connecticut Office of Higher Education is?
No, please tell me I'm going to be mesmerized.
Tim Larson, Democrat Tim
Tim Larson. Wow.
Yes. And you know who Tim Larson's brother is, don't you?
No.
John Larson.
Oh, the John Larson?
U.S. Representative John Larson.
Wow.
His brother Tim Larson, who was, I don't know, he was mayor of East Hartford, and he was a state rep as well. He heads up the higher education department in Connecticut. He's the executive director of it.
So
And,
no shoots. So we're saying, in essence, Al, that there will be no consequences here.
Well, I heard his name mentioned once when this story first broke in one newscast, one sentence of one newscast. And then his name vanished from the news story. Now, he's not in any way, shape, or form,
responsible,
accountable for
Right.
overseeing what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
But
But he
his
should at
name
least
literally
be he should at least be involved in getting to the bottom of why it happened, which is exactly my point about the California fires. It's not so much about you're responsible for this. It's about responding to the issue itself.
The only thing he did that I could see is he made sure that his name came off the story for the duration from then until now.
Yeah, leave me out of it. I want no PR. And of course, the media, or the press for that matter, was incredibly accommodating, not even asking him what he was going to do to prevent that from happening ever again. Were there ever going to be any guardrails to prevent that from happening in another school, or seeking to find out if there were any other schools that were remotely involved in something similar to?
And I also bet you that is a very lucrative position, too.
Oh, well, pays the cost to be the boss, my friend.
All right, just let you know.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Matt is in Bristol. How we doing, good friend?
Hello, Mr. Hopkins. How are you doing?
Pretty good, sir. What do you got?
Long time. So I'm actually calling about, well, first of all, it's the Washington Wokes. That's what I call them.
The Washington Wokes. There is people don't know this, but there is a story that has been widely reported, but since subdued, that the name is coming back.
The Redskins?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. That would make it awesome.
It would make, listen to me, again, it would help me celebrate them, because this kid Daniels, I'm actually kind of rooting for him.
Yeah, if it wasn't on Washington, I would be. But,
Yeah.
So I'm calling. So I'm leaving the state soon. I sold my house. I'm out.
Wow.
I'm leaving, but I don't know where I'm going exactly yet. 100%. I got a couple different options.
Are we throwing a dartboard at the country, or what are we doing here?
I mean, pretty much. Like, I got friends all around, So, one of you're in Texas, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's one of the spots, and it's like 90 miles south of Austin.
Let me put it to you this way. Don't come here. Don't come here.
What?
Don't come here. It won't be necessary.
That's just because you're afraid I'm going to stalk you.
No. I'm not afraid of that. Let me just put it to you this way, okay? If worse comes to worst, I may not be living here anymore.
Well, I didn't expect to become best friends. I was just looking for...
Oh, I want you to... No. You're not getting the point that I'm making. I'm doing hint, hint, nod, nod.
Oh, okay. I got you. It's going the wrong direction.
Exactly is what I'm trying to say here. It's likely, and you never know. It could be possible. I know my wife is sitting up here, making plans. She's packed my bedroom already. Let me just put it that way, okay? I got to say it.
Okay, so you're telling me I should check that one off the old
Yeah,
list.
just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. You know what? I'll put it to this way. If you could stay on the East Coast, would you do upstate New York? Like, let's say Brewster. Not Brewster.
No.
Maybe not Brewster, but somewhere close to Brewster.
No, I mean, if I was going to stay anywhere in the Northeast, maybe like New Hampshire.
Okay.
But no, like, between the cold and the politics, there's not much in the Northeast,
So if you were going to move, Matt, what are you talking about? Like, what's your timeline?
Oh, I'm out in a month. I'm done. I just don't know where I'm going yet.
Okay, and do you work remote, or does it not matter?
Well, I'm a carpenter, so I can work wherever.
You can
want.
you make your money anywhere you need to. I'm just saying, look, you got a month to do it. Let me tell you this. I'll tell you this is probably the downside of moving when I did. So when I was running a moving company, or having a moving company on the East Coast, and then trying to move it here to the West Coast, or the middle of America, one of the biggest problems I had was that it took me 5 years to turn my company not just profitable, but into having some notoriety, right? So I had some word of mouth going on. Plus, I had U-Haul to assist me. But when I get here, all of a sudden, it was a complete drought. And then I found out the entire business is oversaturated. So it was literally nothing. I went from making, after I paid everybody, $125,000 take home to about 20 in the first couple of months.
Nope.
Yeah, so it wasn't good. So
you turned it around.
Oh yeah, I turned it around. It's not a problem. I'm selling the company at a profit, but I'm selling the company.
Well, that's good, because that means your radio career is going really good. That makes me happy.
I'm selling it no matter what. I'm done. I'm 55 years old. I don't want to do it anymore. I accomplished everything I needed to accomplish. It sounds crazy, but that's just where I am.
I'm still a little up in the air. I don't know if you're telling me to stay away. Or,
I'm telling you to stay where you are for a little bit. Just stick around.
Okay.
That's all right. I'll keep in touch with you. Let me get to Jeff in Marlboro. I love you, bro. Let's go to Jeff in Marlboro. What's going on, sir?
Hey, do you love me too?
I love you too. Of course I do. I love all my WTIC listeners. Your family.
So, talking about older technology.
Yes.
Okay, I got one in my house. It's a beauty. Okay.
What do you got?
To call it a record player doesn't do it justice.
Okay.
Okay. This thing is about 5 feet wide.
Ooh.
2 feet from front to back, and stands about waist high. It's like a piece of furniture.
Yes,
okay?
it looks like it's. Oh my goodness! It almost looks like a big giant treasure chest that has the wood piece. Does the wood piece coil back or slide back like the secretary desk?
No, it's all wood, but it opens up almost like a car hood.
Yes, right, almost like a coffin. To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally remember those. And the record player is sort of deep inside the unit.
Yeah.
Sort of like plays in there. Now, hold on. Let me ask you the best part about this, because I remember this record player when I was a kid. Is that record player the same one that you could stack the albums on and play them one after another?
Not this model.
Not this model, okay.
Maybe you could on other models, but my dad took out a personal loan to buy this thing.
Wow.
Even before I was born, so that he could build credit.
Yeah.
So he took out a personal loan to buy it and then pay it back and build credit. But he told me the whole story. But this thing is beautiful. It's almost like a piece of furniture, you know.
It is. It should be respected more in the area. What's the name of the old the Grammy is the gramophone? I knew a guy who had one of those. There's a different name for it, but the one that stands very, very high. It's roughly about 4 or 5 feet tall, and you got to wind it up in order to play the record.
Is that an Edison?
Yeah, that's an old one. My wife just told me it's a Victrola. That's the one. That's it. The Victrola.
Okay. Yep.
I love that one. In fact, that was one of one of my first moving jobs with a guy who worked with the FBI. He had one of them. I still have the video. Maybe I'll post it. He had it, and he played it for us. So we had to rap that thing like 1,000 times. But I'll never forget that. He played it for us, and I can't remember the song he played. I think I have that recorded too.
remember, 'cause I grew up listening to records on that thing, and it thumped. It thumped, man. And like I remember going to a record store about 15 years ago. I still call it a record store, but I was looking for a CD. And this kid, he must have been 17 years old. He tells me, "Oh, well, they also have this one on vinyl." He says, "You know, the quality of vinyl actually sounds a lot better than CDs." I'm looking at this kid. I don't even think he was born when.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like, yeah. Thanks for letting me know, buddy.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, sir. And we love you here at WTIC. You can damn well bet that. All right, we'll take another check of the traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center if he's there. There he is. Mark,
Hey,
you
Reese,
there?
thank
You
very
sound a
much.
little
Good
better.
afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. If you're heading toward Hartford
He's
right
not
now,
hearing me
we're
at
seeing
all.
some slow traffic southbound 9133 down to 32 A&B, northbound.
Yeah, he's not in the mood today.
Windsor 84 eastbound. A little slow down as you move between 44 and 48 Capitol Avenue. Westbound 84 is a good ride, Vernon, out into Farmington. 291 384, no problems. 2 eastbound moving well into Glastonbury. 9 south, a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. Looks like we could have a problem there. Also, looks like we have an accident now on the northbound side of Route 9 in Newington, and the accident looks like it's up by exit 38. So look out for a delay there. It looks like it's between 37 and 38, left and center lane shut down, so you want to stay to the right there. Now, if you are heading into the Middletown area, like I said, 9 southbound's a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge.
He still sounds a little stuffed up, though.
I can still hear it in his voice,
Parkway
yeah.
moving well toward New Haven. 95 southbound New Haven slows 44 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon, we'll have a mix of clouds and sunshine, a high of 43. Tonight, partly cloudy, cold, the low down to 27. Then Tuesday, windy and colder, partly sunny skies. Can't rule out a snow shower in the afternoon and evening, the high 35, though going to feel much colder with the wind. Then a breezy Wednesday with sunshine and a few clouds. Quite cold, the high on Wednesday, only 29. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
4:30, 40 degrees in Hartford. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. State police are charging a man with running over a person with his car in Columbia Saturday. They say Brian Baez Rivera got into an argument while he was coaching a girls' youth basketball game in Columbia. Victim says the coach hit him with the vehicle and took off. Victim sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Man is dead after Waterbury police say a home he was in exploded and caught fire Sunday. 56-year-old was pronounced dead at St. Mary's Hospital. A firefighter in Marlborough hospitalized with minor injuries following a fire in a vacant home today. That fire broke out in a house on Jones Hollow Road, necessitated several surrounding agencies to provide assistance. Growing force of firefighters and equipment moved into the Los Angeles area as another round of powerful winds threatens to trigger new wildfires and set back recent progress in containing blazes that have destroyed thousands of homes and killed at least 24 people. Gas prices fairly stable. AAA reports Connecticut's average per gallon of regular $3.06 per gallon. That's around a penny or so from where it was yesterday, and slightly higher than where the price stood a week ago. Wall Street, the Dow finished up 358 points today. Nasdaq lost 73. S&P was up 9 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Tom Shattuck here with a question. Was your goal to lose weight this year? If so, are you already down 16 pounds? That's a serious question because I dropped 16 pounds my first 3 weeks alone with Awaken 180 weight loss. That's how fast the weight can fall off when you choose the solution for weight loss. Each week you look at the scale and the number goes down and down. Every morning you wake up, you feel better and better. For me, I had huge spurts of energy. I still do. And my anxiety is totally gone. Experiencing those results, and given how easily Awaken 180 was, there was no way I wouldn't reach my goal, and I did. And so did my wife, Alice. She dropped 35 pounds. If you add it up between us, that's 115 pounds combined, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss is the only weight loss program I know that puts their money where their mouth is. They're so confident in your success, they offer free support for life. Life, a one-time investment in yourself for a lifetime of benefits. Online at awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com.
Feel like everything?
1 minute.
I doubt. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate.
Here we go.
Visit trustandwill.com for details.
President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We're back. News Talk 1080 WTIC. Is Matt and I talking to me or something? Not Matt. Mark Christopher. Every time I go to him, he just goes and tries. I know you can still hear his voice. It's a little bit. It's coming back, but he still sounds a little different. It's weird. He sounds clean. Like he doesn't sound congested or anything. You know how there's that little rasp in your voice when you're sick? He sounds clean, but he still sounds like there's a different tone in his voice. So it looks like he's coming off the head cold a little bit, but he sounds better than he did on Friday. So again, like I said, my wife gets mad at me all the time, Rolling, because I can't keep a cold. It doesn't stay with me at all. I just lose it like that. When COVID-19, I'll give you a perfect example of this. When COVID was running nuts, Roseanne had it, her sister had it, the boy had it, and they all gave it to me. All of them at the same time ganged up on me with their COVID. And the only thing that happened to me was I lost my sense of smell. That's it. At all.
Yeah, I didn't get COVID.
You didn't get it? Did your family have it?
My daughter had it, but yeah, I didn't get it.
And kids are resilient. So like if healthy kids, forget about it. It's just like, it's like getting what do you call it? Like a common, cough for a kid or having the sniffles. It's never really that dire. But, older person, especially in my case, I was, concerned that if I got it, I was going to, But like I said, I ate dirt as a kid. That stuff didn't bother me. I wasn't concerned about that at all. So, when I walked into the house, my sister-in-law was living with us at the time, and she would make popcorn every night at about 5, 6 o'clock. So I got home at 6 o'clock, and she's sitting on at the couch, eating a freshly made bucket of popcorn, and I walk in, and I didn't smell it, and that's how I knew. I was like, yep, I got COVID. And I told no one. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell a soul. No one knew I had it. And no one else got sick. And if they did, they couldn't blame me anyway because I wasn't telling. But I just don't. And it's weird because I'm always concerned about what's going to be. Okay, now I'm going to tell the worst story ever. This is really, really bad. So one day I went to the eye doctor and I was asking the eye doctor, or we were having a conversation about how I'm not allergic to penicillin or, have any peanut allergies. I'm allergic to nothing. And it always made me mad that kids had grown up and they were allergic to certain things. So you had to be careful about them. Some of them had to wear these ridiculous bracelets about what they were allergic to. And I was always jealous that I was never allergic to anything. So at the eye doctor, I found out that I had astigmatism in my left eye, and I've always known that since I was a kid. And I used to, do the little cross-eyed. In fact, I was so bad, I could see the inside of my brain. That's how bad my cross-eyed was when I was a kid. But when I got older, I got better, and the cross-eyed went away. My stigmatism went away, and I wear contacts now, which I thought I never could do. And so I asked the doctor, why is it that I had this left eye that was just bad, and I couldn't see very well? And he says to me, I'll never forget it. He goes, there's no real reason to it. It's just that you have one eye that just doesn't see as well as the right eye. It's no condition or anything like that. It's just a defect. And I went, are you saying I have a birth defect? And he went, yeah, I guess. And I went, yes. I was like, yes. And my wife looked at me, Roseanne looks at me, and she goes, are you insane? And I went, no, everybody's got something. I don't have a birth defect. Now I do. So my left eye is a little weaker than the other, and the doctor said it's a birth defect. Yes, normal. I feel normal now. It's just one of those things.
You're a first-class idiot.
You have no idea. It sucks when everybody else has something. Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Are you allergic to anything, Mark?
Let's see. What am I allergic to?
Like, do you have anything that's sort of like weird? Do you have like a third nipple or anything?
No. Although that wouldn't be a bad idea. I could like join a circus and be in a freak show, I guess.
I was just mentioning the fact that when my doctor told me that my left eye was weaker than my right eye.
Okay.
And he said, I said, was there any particular reason? Was there something like an accident or anything like that? And he goes, no, it happens. It's sort of like a defect. And I went, you mean I have a birth defect? And he goes, yeah. And I go, yes. I finally have a birth defect.
You're proud of that.
Yeah, I'm proud of that. Like, I'm finally have a defect that, I have something to brag about with other friends. People say that they're allergic to penicillin. I'm like, oh, I want to be allergic to penicillin.
You don't want any more shots. That's what you don't want.
Exactly. That's the whole thing.
I can tell you, I love Italian food.
Yeah.
But garlic doesn't like me. So maybe that's the only thing I can think of, just obvious, like garlic raises havoc with me, but I do love it.
That's Italian my favorite. Food. That's Italian food. Garlic is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do without it? Other than that, it's just noodles.
Yeah, exactly. I could use some garlic in my nose right about now.
Oh,
that would just.
And no, listen. I think you sound better than Friday. A little stuffed up, but you sound clean.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, all I know is I'm a boss jock for a couple of days.
There you go.
I got the booming voice for a couple of days. Reese, thank you very much. Well, good afternoon, everyone. If you're southbound 91 coming into Hartford, delays 33 to 32 AMB. Northbound.
How can you be jealous? It just makes no sense.
A little tight coming out.
I've got weird quirks, man. It's just weird. It's just me, man. It's just weird.
Some speed 46 up to 48 Capitol Avenue. 291, 384, that looks good east of the river. 2 westbound, 2 eastbound, moving well between East Hartford and Glastonbury. Middletown's a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge. We do have an accident right on the New Britain-Newington line, 9 northbound between 37 and 38. Left and center lanes blocked there. Stay to the right. There is a little bit of a delay behind the back to the 72 interchange. If you're heading toward Waterbury, you're okay. 84 and 8 to the Mixmaster. And 91 in the Parkway doing well toward New Haven. South 95 New Haven. Tight 46 down to 44 in 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, for tonight, partly cloudy, cold, the low dipping down to 27. Then on Tuesday, partly sunny.
So you said you have 10 ports that you can use for those liners.
Evening, the high 35. But
does that change ever, or is it you can only do 10?
15 to 25.
It's because there's so much stuff in here. There's like
everybody's designated to only 10.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Still, so that's going to knock the temperature.
It just says imaging, but it's for everybody.
Yeah,
Wednesday,
I can imagine.
Thursday, mostly cloudy, less windy.
I would think by now, the way that's done, you would think there would be ports. You know what I mean?
London,
like invent ports, so everybody's got their own imaging port.
Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
While the new administration...
Well, with the new boards, that's how it's going to be.
I would imagine.
The new boards, you're going to be able to set up the show.
Right.
Like, so your show will have X, Y, and Z, and this, and that, and then
Implant Center.
the next person, when Matt comes in the morning, he'll just push a button and it'll go to Brian's setup.
Gotcha.
So that's how it's going to be.
Start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
The law firm of Brown, Payne, Dearest & Scott understands that divorce can be intimidating, and the decisions you make today will impact your life forever. Divorce is complicated. There's a lot at stake when considering your future. At Brown, Payne, Dearest & Scott, our team of family attorneys have over 100 years of combined experience and understand every family law case is different. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer, you get a law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Katie Bissonette is responsible for the content of this ad.
We all hear the radio ads.
One minute.
They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6481.
Here we go.
That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I'm not saying that he was with my mom's or nothing. Just saying. It's Reese on the radio. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. We'll get to your phone calls in a quick second. Matt, people are saying don't go. You need to hang out and just wait. Help is on the way, homeboy. Help is on the way. Also, I want to mention this, just to give you a heads up. I don't know if this is going to happen, but I'm trying my best. It looks good. But there was an article in the Hartford Courant and, of course, in the Gazette Extra. I don't know. This publication is new to me. But the black LGBTQ Connecticut pastor that's now in charge of close to 600 New England churches. He's an African-American male. He has a very, very big job. Pretty much the leader of those churches is like 571 of them. I've sent him a message. I got his telephone number. I left him a message. I'm hoping that he will return the call. I'd like to have a conversation with him. He is, again, African-American and of the LGBTQ community, and he is running churches here in Connecticut. And I'm going to talk about some of the articles that have been written about him, and hopefully he'll come on. We'll see if that happens and see if we can turn it into a complete mayhem as well. He will probably just some questions I like to ask about his position and what he intends to do for Christians in the church from his position. He talks a lot about equity and inclusion and things like that. And I just want to kind of pick his brain on those things. Hopefully he'll come on the show and we'll talk about that. Also, the 5 o'clock focus today is going to be pretty good. So those of you who are in or out of a relationship, please stay tuned for that. I want to ask a question about a Pew Research article that came out on CBS about single versus, relationship, not married, but living together. There are several reasons about that, but the 5 o'clock focus will come up. I will tell you what that's all about. For now, let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. George is in St. Louis. How are we doing, sir?
Hi, Reese. I wrote an algorithm for an Excel file. And I took my checking account, and I was able to total a year's worth of food, my food bills.
Okay.
A year's worth of gasoline.
Now you're talking about your food bills for your food bills and your gasoline bills for all of 2024.
It's better than that. If you take a piece of paper and write 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. What I'm doing is comparing how things were under Trump compared to what I'm paying right now.
Okay.
For at the top of the sheet, put down food, and on at the top of the sheet to the right of it, write down the gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the difference between 2020 and 2021 food, my food bill was up 0.4%.
Okay.
But I'm using the baseline again, 2020.
Right.
Between 2020 and 2022, my food bill is up 32.2%.
Wow.
Yeah. Same thing, baseline 2020 and the year 2023. Food bills up 21.5%.
So we're seeing a decrease here if we're getting this right.
Yeah,
Numbers
a
suck.
little bit of, at least in the rate of and the rate of the bill.
Right.
The year 2024, using the baseline 2020, the food bill was up 8.7% compared to again the baseline. For gasoline, not so good. For a baseline, again, using the
2020
total for 2020 compared to 2021, gasoline was up 28.1%. Baseline 2020 to 2022, 57.2%. It was up.
Wow, that's almost double.
Yeah. Baseline again, 2020.
23.
Yeah. 2020 to 2023. Gasoline's up 54%. Baseline 2020 to 2024, gasoline up 50.4%.
Wow. So in all of that, you only see a 4% increase from 2021. I mean, 2022. A 4% decrease.
Is this gasoline you're talking about?
Yes, gasoline. So
No,
you saw it go
everything
above
was up.
52. You saw it go above
Yeah,
52% in 2022.
Each year
Right.
Each year was up. So you know what my conclusion is?
Yeah.
It's better that Joe Biden had never been born. And there's very few people. There's very few people on Earth I can say that about. It's better for me and probably for all Americans if Joe Biden had never been born. We would have been better off.
Let me tell you this. This is the insane part about what you just did there, George, and breaking all of that down. The numbers that you said about your groceries, right? How that number went from over 28%, and then at the end of 2024, you got it all the way down to 8%. The crazy part about that metric that you just gave, that is what the Biden administration is considering a win, ignoring the fact that in 2020, you were looking at an increase of less than a percentage. You know what I mean? They think that an 8% increase, and they believe that an 8% increase at the end of 2024 from less than a percent is a net benefit to the American people.
No, you're still paying more now than you were.
Exactly.
And you went, quite frankly, you went through hell the year 21, 22, and 23. Biden took you through hell.
Yeah.
Under his administration.
It's like, in the battered wife, I always say the battered wife syndrome, to tell you exactly what they did, to put it in a crude way, it would be like a battered wife complaining in 2021 that her husband put her in a body cast, and then the husband saying, you only got a black eye in 24.
Yeah,
you know?
That's right. The beatings aren't as bad.
Yeah, aren't as bad. Right. Exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Thank you, George. Much appreciated. I love that. I love that that chart. Thank you, buddy. All right, let's go to, wow, they're almost simultaneous. Let's go to Aaron in Goshen. How you doing, Aaron?
How are you doing today, Reese?
What's up, sir?
I don't know what to cover. There's so much stuff to cover, but,
anything you like, man. Go for it.
All right. Shame on the American public for their lack of holding anybody to the feet to the fire.
Yeah.
To get an answer about anything. What happened to drones? We were just going to move on from that?
I've not.
California wildfires. What happened to East Palestine? Oh, we're just going to move on for that because Maui fires. What happened to Maui fires? Oh, we're just going to move on to that because something else. I mean, we have gone through some of the most horrific things that have happened to America in the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's been held accountable. We have no answers as to why, how, who, what, when, where, anything.
Yep.
It's just on to the next, on to the next. And for some reason, we all just go along with it. I don't know if there's anybody else out there.
No, Aaron, let me tell you exactly what. Here's the crazy part. Here's exactly what's going to happen in the year 2025 after January 20th. And be prepared for it, okay? This is what's going to happen. The Trump administration is going to go in, and the first thing that they are going to do, and I know the administration is going to do this because I've talked to plenty of people who are associated with the administration who say that they're going to do it. Everything that you just discussed is going to literally have the books opened on it and exposed to the American people against the will of the news media. The news media, again, as Rush Limbaugh used to call them, the drive-by news media, the reason why those stories, as you just mentioned, are no longer the interest of the news media because they're on to the next thing. But when every one of those things gets exposed, right, when everyone pushes back, when Elon and Ramaswamy start revealing to the American people all of this stuff, you know what the media will say? Oh, well, why is he just rehashing old stuff? And why are they rehashing all this old stuff that we've been past this? No. Our response to that is going to be, no, we're not over it. You never gave us answers. No one was ever held accountable. No one ever did any prison time. Right? No one ever lost a job. We're going to make sure that happens. And so when you're saying like, the fact that the news media now is doing everything to find the next thing to, sort of moan about, I know this administration is going to go in there and they're going to reveal everything that you're exactly mentioning. And the drones being one of the biggest.
I'm not so much about the news media. I'm looking at legal. Like, where's the course of legal action that has to take place for these people to be held accountable?
There
is none.
There's
and
another.
These people have run amok. They abuse us.
There's
on
another
a
factor.
basis.
There's another factor in that, Aaron. And again, I don't know if you heard me earlier when I was mentioning the book that I'm reading now called All the Bad People. He even talks about that a little bit. It said that the only time that there's ever any legal ramifications, right, be they criminal or legislative or even criminal, legislative, or even litigation, like on a civil level, the only way that happens is through the news media, right? It's like the bad PR causes something to happen. I'll give you another example. We were just talking last week and the week before that about the young lady at the Hartford school district who was graduated without reading or writing. Nobody's being held accountable because the news media is not forcing them to. There's no PR campaign that they have to be held accountable to. So if the press isn't talking about it, the people don't know about it, and nobody is making a big deal. If William Tong had to deal with a story like that every day in the news media, he would be forced to act the same way he did in Coscob when they found out the assistant principal was keeping people from being hired because of their religion and their political affiliation. All of a sudden, William Tong said, I got to respond to it because it's in the news media. That's how that happens. I know you're saying that. I get your point that it shouldn't be left to the news media for these people to be held accountable, but that's the world in which they operate.
I know. I'll say this. You're talking about old technology. Let's talk about new technology.
What do you got?
You know what a DO is?
A DO? No. What's a DO?
Direct energy weapon.
Oh, no.
It stands for direct energy weapon.
Okay.
Now, if you look at what happened in Maui,
yes.
You look at what happened in L.A.,
mm-hmm.
Eerily similar. Very, very similar to how things burned, how things went down, and the fact that all this stuff that is blue that reflects a direct energy wave didn't burn. So why are we looking into this? There's very similar similarities. I mean, the water was cut off in both situations.
Mm-hmm.
You have incompetency at the highest level, and you have governors that aren't there.
Yeah.
And they show up. It's so terrible. You have Gavin Newsom, which I will say this. I think Chris Murphy's looking better and better to run in 2028 than Gavin Newsom.
You might be right on that one.
I'm sure the American people aren't going to forget.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't forget, because, I mean, it seems to me that, like, our attention span is about 5 seconds.
You're right.
Until something else shiny is dangled in front of us, and then we adhere to that for 5 seconds and move on to the next. The thing is we're not even talking about Allstate and the insurance companies dropping these people from their fire coverage. So there's no hope of any of these people being able to even rebuild on the land that they owned, because
Aaron,
they're not going to be able to afford the taxes.
The State Farm thing we mentioned yesterday. In fact, look, not yesterday, sorry, Friday. I played this audio. This is from PBD, Patrick Bet-David's show, a guy by the name of Tom Ellsworth, who's called the Biz Doc. He talked about this. Look.
State Farm non-renewed 69% of the policies it had in Pacific Palisades. Data point this morning confirmed. State Farm said last year, we're non-renewing 69% of the homes we insure currently today in Palisades. Why? long-term brush risk and poor management of the common area. Why did they do that? Because the county of LA and the city of LA had suspended brush removal in Palisades. This comes down to the county.
Are you joking?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so that's the reason. That's exactly what it is, and I'll talk about that in a little bit when we get back. But thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it. Let's get another check of our traffic with Mark Christopher at the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Thank you. And if you're heading on the northbound side of Route 9 in Newington, look out for an accident between exit 37 and exit 38 right now. Left lane is blocked there. Delays are back to the 72 interchange behind that. Hartford, westbound 84 slows Bulkley Bridge out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound is a little tight. 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 91 southbound delays 33 down to 32 A and B. Northbound 91 moving well Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291, 384 okay. 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. If you are heading on the westbound side of 691, we're seeing some slow traffic now on the eastbound side of 691 as you move between exit 5 and exit, let's see, it would be exit 5 and 3. And then on the westbound side of 691, you've got delays approaching exit 3 out to just about exit 5. So slow traffic on both sides of 691 in Meriden right now. If you're traveling in toward Waterbury, that's okay, 84 and 8. 91 of the Parkway moving well toward New Haven. 95 southbound, just some slow traffic from 46 to 44 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Partly cloudy tonight, the low down to 27. Windy and colder as we make our way into Tuesday. Partly sunny. Can't rule out a snow shower in the afternoon and evening. A high of 35 will feel much colder with the strong winds. Then for tomorrow night, partly cloudy, breezy, quite cold. The low down to 21. Breezy and quite cold Wednesday with sunshine and a few clouds. The high 29. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest. WTIC is 99 and throwing a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's 5 o'clock, Hartford temperature 40 degrees. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. Winds are gaining strength in Malibu and making conditions more difficult for those still fighting those Southern California wildfires. LA City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley has an update on efforts there as high wind warnings go into effect Tuesday morning.
I've strategically pre-positioned engine strike teams and task forces which are dedicated to rapid response for any new fire that breaks out in the city.
More from CBS's Adam Yamaguchi in Pacific Palisades.
I'm seeing nothing but destruction all around me in this neighborhood. With the exception of a few structures that are still standing in place, everything else seems to be wiped out. In fact, 75% of this area is said to have been completely decimated.
The death toll is 24. The owner of Manchester Memorial, Rockville General, and Waterbury Hospitals, Prospect Medical Holdings, filed for bankruptcy over the weekend. The hospitals remain open and are functioning as the Lamont administration says several agencies are monitoring the practices at the troubled facilities. Republican State Senator Jeff Gordon of Woodstock's offering a bill called Putting Patients Over Profit to prevent private equity ownership of hospitals in Connecticut.
I have a very straightforward bill. It is going into the Public Health Committee, and I have been advocating for it and trying to round up as much bipartisan support as we can to not let this happen again. And other states are doing the same thing when they've encountered these problems.
Yale reached a deal with Prospect in 2022 to buy the three hospitals for $435 million, but it's been trying to lower the price due to deteriorating conditions at the facilities. Anne-Marie Serra, a registered nurse at Manchester Memorial Hospital and president of the Nurses AFT Local 5055, says in spite of the upheaval, their mission remains the same.
It's created additional anxiety for all of us. Despite that, our member nurses, healthcare professionals, along with our physician colleagues, have shown up every day in our hospitals to provide excellence in care. And that will continue for the families and our community.
Democratic State House and Senate leaders gathered at the Capitol today to spell out some legislative priorities. They say they'll work to try and build up the housing stocks in the state. Governor Lamont alluded to that during his State of the State last week. Lawmakers also want additional funding for education to try and take some of the burden off cities and towns. Hartford State Senator Doug McCrory co-chairs the legislature's Education Committee.
Like $150 million we made sure stayed in the ECS formula last year, so all these children in the state can get a quality education. We're going to also enact reforms to ensure that these dollars are spent in the classroom on the children directly. On the children.
Senate Democratic leaders say they also want to focus on helping cities and towns navigate the need for additional special ed services. State officials say they are encouraged by the growth of CT Rail's Hartford line, and there's more federal money on the way to expand it. $11.6 million from the bipartisan infrastructure law, now part of a $25 million project that will add to service between New Haven and Hartford, expand service to Windsor Locks, and extend customer service hours. The Hartford line drew a record 750,000 passengers last year. State Transportation Commissioner Garrett Eucalito says that's progress.
We've surpassed pre-pandemic ridership. 2019 was our high point. We went down during the pandemic, but it's exceeded that now. So we're really excited to continue to see the growth in the Hartford line.
State says the project will increase Hartford line ridership by about 90,000 by 2030. President Biden delivered one last final foreign policy speech from the State Department today.
Wasn't a big part of the speech, but felt the need, obviously, to explain and defend that decision, which, remember, was supported by a majority of Americans, ending the war in Afghanistan. What caused a big downturn in his popularity, raised questions about his management and his competency, his ability to lead and to deal with foreign crises, was the botched withdrawal, the chaos that ensued, and, of course, the 13 dead U.S. service members.
Correspondent Ed O'Keefe on Wall Street. The Dow finished up 358 points. The NASDAQ down 73. S&P was up 9. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck here with Mark, who, like me, learned losing weight could be with Awaken 180 weight loss.
After meeting with the staff at Awaken 180, I thought they took everything about me into consideration and said, okay, based on where you want to be, what your goals are, here's what you should do. They laid it out for me. Now, I've had a couple people that I've recommended that have joined Awaken 180. Their program is a little bit different than mine, but we're all seeing results. So I like the fact that they took the time to kind of tailor something to my needs. I looked forward to going on Mondays for my weigh-in. They're very welcoming. They knew who I was just after the first visit. They looked forward to seeing me. And it was almost like just coming home to a family. I mean, it really felt like they were all my sisters. I really look forward to it. I'll go back once a month now that I'm on maintenance, but they're true professionals, and they're very, very nice people.
Nice people who genuinely care about your success. Succeed. Take the first step and reserve your consultation today. Awaken180weightloss.com.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio. News Talk 1080 WTIC, 5 o'clock focus coming up right now. So get on the phones, 860-522-WTIC. You can join in on 5 o'clock focus or anything we talked about today and opine about all of those things. Singledom. I didn't even know that was a term. Singledom has peaked. The number of unpartnered Americans have declined for the first time in 2 decades, according to a Pew Research survey. I guess, in my view, I think it is because of the economy. I don't think it, and another group of people believe that it is a return to traditionalism. It doesn't say that married or marriage, for that matter, has jumped. It jumped about 1%. It went from 50 to 51%. But it's saying that there's a large group of people who are now getting rid of being single. They're ending their single life and getting together with someone, companionship. And, you know, for me, I really do believe, and I'm saying this, gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Young people know this better than anyone. After the summer months, there's a thing called cuffing, where in essence you sort of hook up with somebody and you sort of handcuff them to yourself. You cuff yourself to somebody. And so you start hooking up in these serious relationships in the wintertime so you have someone to cuddle with during the winter months. Yeah, it's considered cuffing. That's what the term is. I believe that because the economy is so bad, as George pointed out earlier in his call about what we saw financially, we saw the numbers, that people, in order to survive, got into relationships with people just so they could pay their bills. They had someone to help them out. Moved in together, shared expenses just to get by. Now, that would also argue that if the economy gets better under the Trump administration, there's going to be a lot of breakups. Hey, baby, back it off. See you later. What do you think? 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon, everyone. If you are heading into the greater Hartford area right now, we are dealing with a crash, and that's 9 northbound. I believe that's clear now. That is clear now. 9 northbound between exit 37 and exit 38. So that crash has been cleared out of the way. Delays are easing quickly out there. Now, if you're heading toward Hartford, westbound 84 is tight up approaching the Boakley Bridge to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound a little tight. 48 Capitol Avenue into the tunnel. 91 southbound brief slowdown at 32 A and B. Northbound 91 moving well Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291 through 84, that looks good. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. If you're heading 691 westbound in the Meriden area, we've got some rubbernecking delays because of a crash. 691 eastbound between 3 and 2B. The left lane is shut down there. So you got delays back to exit 5 behind that. And the delays 691 westbound are 2B up to the accident scene, all rubbernecking there. Waterbury's okay, 84 and 8. Southbound 95 New Haven slowing 46 down to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
It's going to be a colder couple of days ahead. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy, the low down to 27. Then as we make our way into Tuesday, partly sunny, windy, and colder. The high 35. We'll feel like it's well down in the 20s at best with the west-northwest winds at 15 to 25. And Wednesday, still breezy, sun, a few clouds. The high 32. Again, feeling well down in the 20s. The northwest wind still at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Mostly cloudy Thursday, a little less windy, the high of 34. Right now, Danbury at 41, Bridgeport 37, Bristol at 38, and it's 39 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Want $125 free heating oil or propane to save on heating costs this winter? Go with your local HVAC pros. Go with Petro. Petro has a great deal on a new heating system with $0 down and low monthly payments. Go to petro.com now or call 1-888-PETRO02.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Something amazing is happening in video conferencing. People are showing up in big ways. That's because CDW is building collaborative and connected video and audio environments with HP Poly. With noise block AI to silence distractions and group framing to highlight speakers, everyone on your team gets to shine. Make amazing happen. HP Poly and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/poly.
I had the worst dream. In a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
It's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online, no medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychic.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man.
Let's get right to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Michael is in Higginham. How are you, Michael?
I'm good. How you doing, Reese?
Pretty good, sir. What's up?
You had an earlier caller talking about moving down your way.
Yes.
And I was trying to, your response, I was reading between the lines, and it sounds like 2025 is going to be a great year aside from Trump going into office.
I'm hoping that it will be, Michael. I'm crossing my fingers. It would be more than a privilege. It would be an honor to do that. And again, for me, it would be, wow, how do I put this? It would be 20 years, a little more than 20 years, returning back to the nutmeg state if it were to happen. And I couldn't, to be honest with you, I would be completely overjoyed. And I kind of believe this has always been the truth coming out. I believe that my career as a radio personality, as a radio host, started in the nutmeg state. So it has always been near and dear to my heart. And it's like I said, I've been here 6 months, and I've been with WTIC for almost 3 years now. April will be 3 years, and it's been it's been the best
from day one.
Thank you, sir. It's been the best experience ever.
And you know what? When you guys come up, my wife and I would be more than happy to show you some nice restaurants that probably weren't here when you were out here.
Not a problem. I'd be happy to attend.
God bless Todd Feinberg. I hope he's doing well.
Indeed. Same here, sir. Thank you so much, Michael. Much appreciated. So, Michael, real quick before you go, since you're married, what do you think? The 5 o'clock focus, more and more people leaving their single life in the latest Pew research and now coupling, sort of getting together with people and starting relationships more so than ever before. We're talking about a 2-decade high of people not being single. Would you say financial or actual traditional values is leading that charge?
That's a tough question to ask. Actually, my wife, she never had any children. I had 2 children from an ex-marriage.
Wow.
And God bless her because she chose to be the stepmother. And she's just fantastic. And I don't think people should be single.
You don't think so?
No.
I think, you know what, I get where you're coming from, Michael, because again, what's life without someone to share it with, right?
Yes, and you'll be alone. I have a lot of friends that are they're married without kids, and it's like, what's going to happen when you get older?
Yeah,
you know,
right?
Who's going to look after you?
It's a good point. It's not like, you know what? I would say it this way. Look, at some point, couples do get old, and one spouse will pass away before the other. It's usually not likely that both of them will pass away together. But why waste all of that time spending all of it alone when you can have a majority of it with someone that you love?
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah, great point, man. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Take care.
You got it, sir. You got it. Mike is in Plainville. How we doing, sir?
Huffing. That's a new term. But it's been going on for decades.
Yeah, I never heard the term before, but apparently the kids are using it. Cuffing.
They've got
That's old.
They got these new terms for everything. They have gaslighting, hoodwink, and they named the game after cornhole. I mean, come on. I mean, what if people aren't I don't know.
Exactly.
Leave that one alone. But geez, it's disgusting to hear Biden.
Yeah.
The news director must be really woke because he puts this stuff on. Okay. And he's talking about his accomplishments. Are you kidding me?
Look,
how about the failures of LA, the state of California? Okay. And then you got this, Fannie Willis down in Georgia?
I know. But wait a minute, hold on. Aside from the story that I already know, what are you talking about? Is that the one that she's asking them to put her back on the case? Is there a story beyond
Just
that?
The whole thing. Just
Okay.
The overview of the
Oh,
whole
gotcha.
situation.
Right,
I mean,
right,
this
right.
is taken. If I had authority in either one of these cities, I would use every ounce of it to get these people out of office.
No. And the fact is, the scary part is that Donald Trump won Georgia, and of course, Fannie Willis won re-election in her small little town, which in essence sort of like the capital city there in Atlanta. But she wins re-election, but everything about her office is the most corrupt ever, and they're completely without scruples in that office. They just destroyed one of the biggest RICO cases they had with that rapper Young Thug, and they turned out they were conspiring with the judge in the case. There was a whole bunch of stuff.
You could say the same thing about Hartford, Connecticut, and the state of Connecticut. The way things are run, they don't care about us. I mean, it's just you got a governor that's just a empty suit.
You know what? I'll say this.
I won't get you started.
No. Let me say this to you, Mike. Let me say this to you. If you really want to be agitated, okay? And I don't know who to blame for this. I'm not gonna beat up on WTNH for doing this, but I'm just gonna beat up on the programming. Did you see the Capitol report this weekend on WTNH?
No.
Did you see it? Okay.
I don't watch Channel 8 ever. I don't watch 8. I don't watch the local channels.
I understand that, but the reason I'm telling everybody, if you really need to understand the reason why there's no accountability, and Aaron is a perfect person, Aaron, if you're listening, if you really want to see the lack of accountability, the lack of anyone answering for anyone, go to WTNH.com and go watch Sunday's Capitol Report, because Governor Lamont was on the entire episode, surrounded by Republicans and Democrats alike, being asked questions about his State of the State address and just about his policies. And I'll put it to you this way. There wasn't a tongue that wasn't wagging, and there wasn't a tongue that didn't lick the crevice of this man. It was an absolute tongue bath. And I was annoyed as I was watching it. I have to watch it. And it was driving me through the roof.
I can't even watch the man speak for 10 seconds.
It is not that I believe that every discussion with the man should be contentious, but it was just this fawning over that was it was despicable to watch. Not a tough question.
Everybody's sitting around with their legs crossed and one hand on their ass and the other hand on their right cheek.
Right, but spending a lot of time, I'll put it to you this way. When you spend that much time celebrating the fact that you got the man on, which means there's never going to be a tough question asked him, because that's what it was about. It was like, I'm so glad you're here, Governor. Thank you for coming in your busy schedule. As soon as I hear that, I go, they're never going to ask this guy a tough question. They're just not.
He's a sofa king. I'm telling you what, I could do his job, the lieutenant governor's job, and one of the state reps' jobs. I multitask. I would put these people in the dust.
Yeah, Mike, I'm just saying, if I implore people.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
They don't want anybody to come in and try and straighten things out because it'll upset the whole system.
I don't even think that is. It showed.
They patronize criminals. They patronize.
Mike, I watched only thing I could describe about that. It was a bipartisan tongue bath. That's how bad it was. Even the host barely had a tough question for the governor. It was annoying. Thank you, Mike.
I can't watch the news anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. I couldn't agree with you more, sir. I couldn't agree with you more. Let's go to Brian, who's in Portland. How we doing, sir?
Hello?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, why is your show so angry and so hateful?
You think I'm angry?
You know, the new sheriff is in town. This guy's leaving. Who cares what he says? It doesn't matter anymore.
I don't think I'm angry. You got me angry? Brian, you got me angry? What do you mean? What do I sound angry about?
Well, the last guy that just spoke sounded pretty angry too.
Well, look, when you live in a state where you know, like you deep down know that nothing is going to change and people are going to actually capitulate to the governor and give him everything he wants at the detriment of the people that are there, it's a good thing to get angry. I don't want anybody complacent. If you consider that anger, I mean, that's a point of view that you have, and I respect it. But nobody
he said
should
he
sit.
could do 3 people's jobs.
And that's okay for him to say that. But my point is,
I agree.
It's what I'm saying to you is that, look, no one can sit idly by and just allow things to go, business as usual and live up to the status quo because there's nothing that you can do about it. Donald Trump is going to be the president of the United States, but he doesn't run the state of Connecticut. And the legislature and the governorship and the Senate in Connecticut, that needs to be handled, and that needs to be addressed on a daily basis. That's the purpose of talk radio.
Okay. The new sheriff in town, Trump, might inspire a lot of people in the state of Connecticut to look for some change. They might see his path toward making things different at state level through the federal government being the president.
How do you think Brian, how do you think that takes effect? I'll give you another example. Let me go all the way to the West Coast and give you an example, right? You know that the leadership in California is about to change. Gavin Newsom's political career is a wrap. Karen Bass, forget about re-election in 2026. Hold on. 2026, she's about to be a wrap. But you want to know why that's happening? It's not because everybody is going hunky-dory, ha, 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 ha. People in California who aren't even affected by the wildfires in L.A. know for a fact that they cannot sit idly by and allow that woman to hold office. They are as angry as the people who've lost their homes because they know that their homes are at risk because of that feckless mayor. So what I'm saying is that anger, or you think it may be an emotional response to an issue, is necessary and warranted when applied effectively. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the reason why I called, sir,
yes, sir,
was I said to you, there's a new sheriff in town.
And that's not enough.
We could take that. Excuse me?
That's not enough.
Well, can I finish my statement?
Yeah, of
please?
course.
I said there's a new sheriff in town, and this radio station that has been offering the ability for doing things to help people in the state. I kind of look at this point of this would be a great opportunity for this radio station to get on board to, okay, let's look at what the president's going to do, what's some stuff that can be done to try to help the people of America, of California, and of the state of Connecticut. That's all I was asking for, sir.
No, I appreciate your ask.
But let's be a little bit more upbeat, because this guy's coming in, and you think that a lot of people think that's going to be a good thing for this country.
Brian, listen what I'm trying to say to you.
You're harping and harping and harping. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, Brian.
You have the best traffic. I will say that. You got the best traffic.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Brian, I appreciate you. Listen, but you got to let me finish. My point is this. You have a point of view about this that you believe that what we're doing or how we can handle this is your particular way. I disagree with you. Hold on. I disagree with you wholeheartedly. And you're right. There is a new sheriff in town. But if you've ever listened to Reese on the radio, the moment that I joined this network, the first thing that I said was that Donald Trump has been literally left to do it all without the work of the people of the country. It takes more than just go. Hold on. Let me finish.
Maybe not this
Hold
time.
on. It is enough to go out and vote, but that's never been enough for me. People think that it's important. Oh, I went out and voted. Now let's see if things change. No. You know, we understand that in order for things to really change, we all must be involved. It is a civic duty for all of us to be involved.
And you have a huge platform to enable that.
Oh yeah, that's my job.
WTIC. Look at the history. Honor that history.
Well aware of it.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you
for listening.
Much appreciated, Brian.
Thank you very
I don't understand. I mean, I believe I believe that every person has to play a role in that. Not everybody, but everyone who really wants to see change. It's not enough to scream at the sun. You know, you haven't heard the last of me. No, you got to get out there and you got to be involved. You got to get your neighbors involved. You got to convince people. You got to win hearts and minds. The next election is coming. Look, we saw growth in Connecticut of people who voted for Donald Trump in places we've never seen it before. But Donald Trump's not running in 2028. So who's going to be the next standard bearer for Republicans? Who's going to be the guy that citizens of Connecticut who are conservatives, who want to continue down the path, either a MAGA movement or a conservative movement, who are the people who are going to convince others that this is a continuing way to go? Do you think it's just idly by going, just leave it to Trump? Just leave it to Washington. That's what got us here. They can't make us get involved. I'm suggesting that we do. That's all. Another check of our traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon, everyone. Well, if you're heading into the Hartford area right now, southbound 91's a little slow. Getting by 33 Jennings Road. Looks like we have a problem in the HOV breakdown lane or in the HOV lane itself. An accident there. Southbound once again by exit 33 Jennings Road. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up approaching the Boca Bridge out to 46 Sisson Avenue. 84 eastbound, pretty good ride now as you move from Farmington out into Vernon. 291 through 84, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. If you're traveling on the eastbound side of 691, look out for a crash, and that's out by exit 3 in the left lane. Delays are approaching exit 5. Behind that, some rubbernecking delays on the westbound side of 691 as you approach the accident scene. Waterbury downtown looks okay, 84 and 8. 91 in the Parkway moving well toward New Haven. 95 southbound New Haven slows 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Partly cloudy and cold tonight with the low down to 27. Then as we head through Tuesday, partly sunny, windy, and colder. Can't rule out a snow shower in the afternoon or evening. The high of 35, but feeling much colder with that strong west-northwest wind at 15 to 25 miles an hour throughout the day. Partly cloudy, breezy, and cold Tuesday night. The low down to 23. Breezy with sunshine, a few clouds on Wednesday. Still feeling quite cold. The high of 32 will feel well down in the 20s again with the northwest wind still at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Thursday, mostly cloudy. The high of 34, the wind subsiding some and switching into the southwest. That'll bring in milder temperatures for our Friday, partly sunny, the high up to 41. Cloudy Saturday, the high of 45. Then Sunday, sunny to partly cloudy, the high of 39 with winds shifting into the north-northwest. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest. And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 5:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. There's a fear of new fires in Southern California. High wind advisories go into effect Tuesday. Officials say that could blunt some of the progress made in fire suppression and the fires themselves that have ravaged the L.A. area. A Willimantic man is facing charges. He hit someone with his car on Saturday. State troopers say Brian Baez Rivera was coaching a girls' basketball game in Colombia. When he got into an argument with the victim, they say he hit the victim, who sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Baez Rivera says he was chased on foot by the victim and others, and that the victim stepped in front of his vehicle. The owner of Manchester Memorial, Rockville General, and Waterbury Hospitals, Prospect Medical Holdings, has filed for bankruptcy. The hospitals remain open and functioning, as the Lamont administration says several agencies are monitoring the practices at those facilities. State Senate Democrats were on hand at the Capitol to spell out some legislative priorities with the session underway. Tops on the list: education funding, special ed in particular, and creating an more affordable housing stocks. President Biden said today that his stewardship of American foreign policy has left the U.S. safer and economically more secure, arguing that President-elect Trump will inherit a nation viewed as stronger and more reliable than it was 4 years ago. Trump takes office next Monday. And officials say U.S. and Arab mediators made significant progress toward brokering a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war, and that the release of scores of hostages held in Gaza, but a deal has not yet been reached. On Wall Street, the Dow finished up 358 points. The NASDAQ lost 73, but the S&P gained 9 points. NBA tonight, Knicks at the Garden take on the Pistons. NFL Monday Night Football, I guess you could call it. It's a wild card playoff between the Vikings and the Rams. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Men, the new year is here. And if you're like many of us, you're going to make a resolution to improve your health. But if you're feeling sluggish and low energy, if your sleep patterns are off, if you've been working out and aren't seeing the gains you used to see, making that resolution may not be so easy. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And if you're feeling the way I just described, we can likely help you with that resolution because those symptoms probably mean you're suffering with low testosterone. And at Northeast Men's Health, we're experts in treating this condition. With our low T protocols, if you're like most men, the change will astound you. You'll feel more energy and better mental clarity. Your sleep will improve. Your workouts will be better, and you'll likely find your sex drive goes up as well. So call us today and get treated for your low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956 or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices: Salem, New Hampshire, Dedham, Marlborough, Woburn, Farmington, Connecticut.
Hey everyone, it's Ted.
1 minute.
The guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year and monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
It's time for What Had Happened Was. Brought to you by the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app today so you can find out what had happened was. So, top of the hour, of course, I asked the question whether or not Joe Biden was possibly in a position to pardon Donald Trump. Now, many people argued that, of course, it's not a federal crime. It's a local crime. You couldn't do that. So, of course, it begged the question. I was looking up a couple of things that would at least suggest something along the lines that the president could do. I didn't find anything. So, of course, it completely blows my theory up. And I want to thank everybody for at least talking me off that list. Kathy Hochul will never do it. She's the governor, so of course, of New York, so that'll likely never happen. Also, we had a couple of great conversations. Mark in Bristol is talking about moving out of the state. He said he just can't do it anymore. He's out within a month. I wonder if we could get Ned Lamont to talk Matt in Bristol out of it, because the state of the state says that, that all we need is more housing. And, by the way, Matt's helping Ned Lamont with more housing because he's about to sell his. But maybe we can get Ned Lamont to convince Matt to stay in the event that, somebody, with a wife and a pretty good following in the Nutmeg State possibly could move into the state within the coming months, and there might be opportunities for Matt to hang out with said individual. I don't know, it's possible. As well, we talked about in the stupidest thing I read today, Wolf Blitzer is getting raked over the coals because he still has a VCR, a DVD player, and a plasma TV that he watches regularly at home. For a guy who makes, I'm only assuming, a pretty good salary, why he wouldn't have the latest technology. The kids are raking him. And the thing I don't understand is we rag on old people all the time about not being able to even work new technology. So here's Wolf Blitzer working the stuff that he knows, and he's kept it in pristine condition. Why rag on him? If you watch, I don't know if you watched the eulogy that Jason Carter, the grandson of former President Jimmy Carter, at his funeral, Jason Carter gave a eulogy for his grandfather, and he tells this great story. I actually chuckled. It was a really good story and very funny. He talks about when Jimmy Carter first got a cell phone, and Jimmy Carter didn't know how to use it all that well. Of course, he's an older gentleman, but he gets a cell phone, and Jason gets a phone call from his grandfather. It says, Papa, and he picks up the phone, and he says, hey, Papa, what's going on? You calling me? And Jimmy Carter goes, no, I didn't call you. And he goes, yes, Papa, you did. He goes, no, I didn't call you. I'm trying to take a picture. So it was a funny anecdote, but again, that's what I'm saying. It's like old people don't do technology well. So Wolf Blitzer is playing with the technology he's comfortable with. And that's what had happened was, download the Odyssey app today so you can get this show, Brian and Company, which Mark the Shark, of course, in the BPS Traffic Center is on as well. How we doing, Mark?
We're doing really good. And if you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, look out for a crash 91 southbound in the HOV area down by exit 33 Jennings Road. Could be slowing you down a little bit there. After that, you're slowing 33 down to 32. After that, you're moving well. Weathersfield down into Cromwell. Northbound 91, no issues. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slowing approaching the Bulky Bridge of 47 Sigourney. Looks real good eastbound 84 Farmington to Vernon.
Can't fit in those jeans. Be
84,
careful
no
with
issues.
beans.
Eastbound's moving
All
well.
right,
Glastonbury to
let's talk
Marlboro,
about
Quiet
beans.
Middletown.
Musical
If
fruit.
you are traveling 691
Brace yourself for this
eastbound,
beast of a
we have an
lens,
accident up
military
by
grade,
exit
and
3.
ready
That's
to
in the
roll
left
with
lane.
you
Laser
anywhere.
approaching exit
Dude, you can
5.
Conrad's Gateway
Behind
Pub down
that,
here with James
Waterbury
Old
looks
Keep.
okay,
So
84 and
James,
8.
you're leaving
91
BC
in
after
the Parkway,
spending
good ride toward
quite
New
the
Haven.
weekend
95
here,
South New Haven slowing
exposing the
46
swamp.
down to
What
43
can
in
our
West
readers and our
Haven.
viewers look forward to
Traffic
seeing
and weather
from
together
you
on
next
the 8th
week and the next week
WTIC
after that?
News
Well, I'm a
Talk
little
10.
tired. I have the fake
Traffic
tats
is brought to
on. I
you
was
by
dyed
the
my
Heyman
hair. I
Law
was in
Firm.
disguise and
If you or a
basically
loved one
up
has
most
been the
of the
victim
night,
of medical
undercover
malpractice,
on some
know that you
meetings.
are
We
not
got some-
alone. Call 1-800-HEYMAN and they will get you the answers and advice you deserve. Attorney John Heyman is your legal authority in medical malpractice. Call 1-800-HEYMAN.
WTIC weather.
Making our way through tonight, partly cloudy, cold, a low down to 27. Heading through Tuesday, partly sunny, a windy and colder day. Can't rule out a snow shower in the afternoon and evening. The high of 35. Partly cloudy, breezy, and cold again Tuesday night, the low down to 23. Then breezy with sunshine and a few clouds, the high of 32 for Wednesday. Thursday, mostly cloudy, the high of 34. Currently, it is 39 in Danbury. It's 37 in Mansfield, 39 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
We all have insecurities. Your smile shouldn't be one of them. Come visit us at Columbia Implant Center. One day, same day, 7 days a week. Call 860-743-1898 or at ColumbiaImplantCenter.com.
Tom Shattuck here with a question. Was your goal to lose weight this year? If so, are you already down 16 pounds? That's a serious question because I dropped 16 pounds my first 3 weeks alone with Awaken 180 weight loss. That's how fast the weight can fall off when you choose the solution for weight loss. Each week, you look at the scale and the number goes down and down. Every morning you wake up, you feel better and better. For me, I had huge spurts of energy. I still do. And my anxiety is totally gone. Experiencing those results, and given how easily Awaken 180 was, there was no way I wouldn't reach my goal, and I did. And so did my wife, Alice. She dropped 35 pounds. If you add it up between us, that's 115 pounds combined, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss is the only weight loss program I know that puts their money where their mouth is. They're so confident in your success, they offer free support for life. Life, a one-time investment in yourself for a lifetime of benefits. Online at awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-784-4538. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free what you qualify for by dialing 800-784-4538. 800-784-4538. 800-784-4538.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right. We're back at it, folks, this week. So make sure you hear and share the show, especially if you're watching online, Facebook, X, Rumble. Share the show with your friends. Let them know what kind of fun and things we're talking about here. We're kind of having a good time as we do. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Adam is in East Hartford. How we doing, sir?
Hey, Reese, happy Monday to you. You're always glad to be on the air.
Always, always.
Hey, what I called about, you're not mean and you're positive. You're just a conservative and are calling out the Democrats. That's all.
I'm passionate, as I like to explain to everybody I've ever worked for. I don't make an excuse, nor do I apologize for my passion.
You're doing a good job, you know, because you bring on the other side and let them say their piece. And it's good that you're, just to show, I'm not promoting lesbianism, but you're showing that you're willing to have the other pastor from the other side talk.
Yeah, I want to hear from him because, again, I believe that there should not be, and I'll give you a perfect example. What Adam's talking about here, there's a black LGBTQ pastor who's going to be the head of like 571 churches around New England. And, there's a whole bunch of conversation about, diversity and, gender equality and all this other stuff. And I'll even preface what some of my questions are, Adam. And first and foremost is, what's this got to do with the Lord? What's any of this got to do with the Lord? And why is this important? Why are we injecting what people do in their private lives in speaking the word of the gospel, speaking the word of the Lord, speaking the word of our Lord Jesus Christ? What's it got to do with it? And why is it important?
Very good point. And then the other thing, too, regarding that you're glad that you finally found a disability or defect. I'm also like Mark, or no, who's allergic to penicillin? Is that Mark Christopher? Or
yeah, no. That was a friend of mine who's allergic to penicillin.
I found out that I am when I was able to get it for years, but about 15 years ago, maybe 20, a dentist was trying to treat an infection, prescribed penicillin. I broke out in a bunch of hives.
Holy moly!
Yeah, you don't want that.
And you never knew it. And this was like in your adult life, you found out that you were allergic to it, having never used penicillin before.
No, I had gotten it in the Air Force or when my tonsils were out, but it just came later in life.
Oh, you developed you developed an adverse effect to it. Okay, I've never heard of.
But either way, I'm going to keep listening, and always a great show. I enjoy hearing the other callers. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. One of the things that happened to me when I was 30, my sister grew up with eczema. My younger sister grew up with eczema. My younger brother, eczema. Other younger brother, eczema. I think I was 35 by the time I developed it, and I had it in two weird places behind the knees, and I developed it, and it drove me nuts. I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened. It was like crocodile skin. It was the worst. I'm like, what the heck is this thing? I thought I ate something weird or I touched someone because I'm kind of a germaphobe, just a little bit. Like, I don't like icky. So I thought that I'd like touched something or, maybe I had, let's just say I just thought I had something. That's how weird it was. And then I found out it was eczema and I was like, wow, really? I didn't become lactose intolerant. I loved milk. All of a sudden, 35, couldn't drink it anymore. I'll never forget that. Drove me nuts. Craig's in the car. How we doing, sir?
No, Brian. Problem is it's not that we're angry. It's that we're not angry enough.
Indeed.
You need to stay angry, stay vigilant. And if you think because there's a new sheriff in town, everything's going to be okay, man,
you can take the hill and still lose the war.
That's right. And all it needs is a lack of focus. That's all. All you have to do is have a lack of focus.
You know, the great thing about Trump is, yeah, we have an ally, and he's putting the right people in place. But if we don't stay vigilant and we don't keep pushing for change, you know, in 4 years, there's going to be a slew of Democrats looking to take his job. And you got to prepare for that now. So he'll support us. We need to support him. But, man, I'm mad as hell.
Indeed.
And I'm not going to change because Trump takes the oath on the 20th.
That's right.
I want chaos and earthquakes. I want it.
Yeah, you know what? The interesting part about that, Craig, is that, look, we know that the elected officials of this state, they made it clear after Election Day. They went on television, put out press releases that they were going to be the resistance to the President of the United States. They had their eye on the national ball, if you will, right? It was about Washington. Not about you, not about me, not about anybody else in the nutmeg state. They drew their line in the sand. You ain't coming up here messing with nothing that's here, right? So in essence, just saying that anything that the president had planned for the state of Connecticut on a level of prosperity, these guys were going to stand in the way. How do you not get angry about that? Well, how do you not look at this leadership and say to them, you don't even know what he's implementing yet. You're telling everybody you know, but you can't tell us what he's implementing, and you've decided to push back against him. And we never asked you to. None of us have asked you to step in front of the Trump administration and any of his policies. Not once did you ask us our permission.
Well, I love the fact that Trump has taken office, and we're all happy about that. And you know, we're proud of the fact that, you know, we're coming back on a national level.
Yeah.
But I'm not pissed at that. I'm upset about the state of Connecticut. I'm obsessed about the counties we live in and the towns we live in. That's where my anger is focused.
Indeed. And there are people who are pushing against your best interest because they have an ideology that's beyond the scope of reality.
I'm upset that I live in a state as a Republican, as a conservative. I have not one representative in Washington, D.C. Not
Indeed.
one.
Indeed.
And that's why I'm upset.
Exactly. You couldn't have said it any better. And again, I listen to guys like Brian, and I just go, of course, you know, it's always somebody out there telling you, do it my way. Because of course it doesn't do anything for him. And I don't know if it's a lack of caring or a lack of interest, but you know what? The last thing I'll tell anybody to do is how they're supposed to react to their leadership or how they're supposed to react to politics writ large. It is not up to me to tell you. I'm not telling you to get angry. I'm telling you have a right to be. That's all. That's all.
We all have a right to be.
Exactly.
And guys like the flaw in guys like Brian is, if you think the guy at the top is going to fix everything for you, you got a problem.
Exactly. You haven't learned a thing.
I've worked for many companies where we got a new CEO that came in with all sorts of vim and vinegar, but if we don't do our jobs and support that, then the company is still going to fail.
Damn right. Exactly. You're 100%.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you. God bless you. Let's go to Joe. Wall Street Joe's in New Hampshire. How we doing, sir?
Reese, the Holy Ghost. How are you tonight?
Pretty good, sir. What's up?
Few things. Here's the big news this morning. That park in New York City, Eric Adams, in a sign that he's a new changed person. He shut down that illegal immigrant tent city. 3,000 people.
Oh, Randall Park near the Bronx.
Yeah, and guess where they're all headed, those 3,000? They were told there's green pastures in Massachusetts and Connecticut. They're heading this way.
Whoa.
3,000 of them. So, I don't know. Maybe
Wow.
Lamont will keep things quiet, put them places without advertising it. And a couple other things.
Go for it.
Biden's going to be doing some serious damage in these final days. Now, remember when Barack Obama had addressed the nation with the DACA children. He
Yeah.
addressed the country.
Indeed.
And he said, Congress hasn't done their job, so I'm, giving them all these rights, and,
Indeed.
benefits. I don't know exactly what they called it. Well, anyway, Biden, this is the news. Well, first of all, he's going to give Guantanamo Bay to Cuba, and they're going to turn it over to the Russians. The Russians are going to take over our base. That's in the cards.
Hold on for me 1 second, real quick. Hold on for me 1 second. I'll put you on hold real quick, Joe. Okay, just forgive me, folks. I want everybody to indulge me, okay? I'm assuming that who just called my personal cell phone is Reverend Darrell Goodwin. Is that who's on the phone? All right, Darrell Goodman. Okay, Darrell Goodman. For those of you guys heard me mention him earlier, Darrell Goodman, I have him on my cell phone right now. So if you can hear him, just listen closely. I'm sure I got the volume up. Darrell, I'm live on the air on WTIC right now. Darrell is now the leader of nearly 600 New England churches just recently, and there's a couple of articles about him. Darrell, I'm wondering if you're interested in being on the show tomorrow afternoon. Do you have any interest in that? Probably about 4 o'clock, about 4:05.
I will try to make it happen.
Okay, well, I have your phone. I have your number here. I will send you a text and see if we can coordinate it because I've already teased it. Not that you were coming on, but that I reached out to you, and we'll see if we can get it done tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
You got it. All right, there you go, folks. You heard him. He's somewhat committed. There is Darrell Goodwin. I thought it was Darrell, but it's Darrell Goodwin, Reverend. Let's give him his respect, Reverend Darrell Goodwin, and we'll see if we can hook up to talk to him tomorrow. Now we'll get back to Joe in New Hampshire before we get out of here. Joe, sorry about that, sir. He called on the phone. I saw his telephone number. I wanted to make sure that I at least tried to commit him onto the show.
Well, he can ordain you on the air. That's beautiful.
I will do my best. After our conversation, he may not. He may want to excommunicate me.
Reverend Reese, the Holy Ghost. So anyway, the base in Cuba is going to the Russians. That's in the play.
Uh-huh.
But here's the big one. The night of the 19th, Sunday evening.
Yeah.
Biden will address the nation. And just like Obama, they'll say, up until midnight tonight, every illegal that's crossed the border, up until tonight at midnight, you are pardoned. What do you think of that?
Ooh. Oh, I don't know. You know what? I'll be waiting with bated breath to see if that happens. Monday's Inauguration Day. That would be a big news day if that happened. Let me get to one more before I get out of here, Joe. I love you, buddy. Let me get to Dave in Brantford. Get him in here before we get out of here. What's going on, Dave?
Yeah, quick hit. Friday's local paper. It is the New Haven Register. William Tong.
Yes.
Sanctuary is the lead story. Sanctuary is not a helpful term. And he's telling us he would rather not describe Connecticut as a sanctuary state.
Yeah.
All the word does is inflame people, and it puts a target on our backs. Isn't that just like a liberal? It's the word that is the trouble. People with Down syndrome,
right?
Because we call them retarded. That's why they're not successful. If you're an Indian, we need to call them Native Americans.
Right.
That's what the problem
Homeless
is.
have to be called unhoused, Dave. That's a new one. Unhoused.
Absolutely. And so the problem is it's not the word. It's not the result of Sanctuary City. It's the word. That William Tong is a dangerous barking chihuahua. And do I have time for one more comment?
Go for it. Go for it. You earned it.
You know all those California tags on the products we buy that said, this product contains chemicals known to the state of California.
Yeah.
To cause cancer and birth defects.
Yes.
Well, with all those fires covering dozens and dozens and dozens of square miles, all full of toxics, when your house has been burned to ashes and leaves the chemicals behind, all of California now contains chemicals known to cause. California is a toxic waste state.
Indeed.
And I do feel bad for them, but that's what they've done to themselves. And that's probably the next big news story. Much like when the Twin Towers fell down, everyone got poisoned. Well,
yeah, it's
California.
It's an interesting perspective, but you're right. That would be the ramifications of this immediately after the fire. In fact, the area, Dave, that's burned down is larger than the square mileage of San Francisco. That's how much damage has been done.
And when it does rain, all those chemicals are going to perk into the ground. They'll be there forever.
Yeah.
And again, that's what they've done to themselves.
Indeed.
Thanks for letting me on.
Thank
done.
you. You got it, Dave.
Bye.
Much appreciated, sir. Yeah, it's going to be insane. All right. Well, I'm going to talk to Darrell Goodwin after I get off the air, and I will see if I can get him confirmed for tomorrow. See if we can have a nice, lengthy conversation about his role in the church. But I'm glad he called back because he heard my message. So it'll be an interesting show tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be interesting. So make sure you don't miss it. There'll be some fireworks, I'm sure. There'll be blasphemers and sacrilege all through the day when we have them on the air. So be a part of it. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good day, pleasant tomorrow, and we'll see you back in next time. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night, Mark.
Hey, good night, Reese. See you tomorrow. If you're heading into Hartford right now, good ride. Both sides of 84, both sides.
All right, good sir.
Thank you.
No issues.
You think this guy will come on?
Yeah.
Bro. Quiet Middletown still.
I think he will.
All right, at least I left him a message, so I'm sure he called because he heard the message. But it could be a little tough.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he got to know what's coming up.
Yeah.
Well, Haven.
I won't tell him everything, but I'll tell him it'll probably be contentious.
WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
You got it.
Partly cloudy and cold tonight with the low down to 27.
All right, thank you guys. I much appreciate it. Damn, Richard, I meant to mention that you said that Wolf Blitzer was at a Blockbuster last week. I meant to put that in there. Thank you, buddy. I totally appreciate it. Sorry I didn't see that. But I will see you guys tomorrow, man. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you.